All right. Testing, testing. Looks like everything's working. You just double check here. Yep, everything looks like it's working all right. Turned down the music a tiny bit. Hello, everybody. I'm going to do the quick little thing. In case you're watching this after the live stream has already ended and you're just watching this as a YouTube video on my channel, then hello. Welcome in. We are going to be talking about a couple things today. We've got a Q&A with a twist right after we talk about some of the new classes, which are all linked down below. So if you're just popping in and you missed the live stream, no worries. Links to all the stuff down below. You can keep watching for more information. But we have two classes, one for beginners and one's a little bit more advanced / exciting. Also, my mentorship program has a group thing that is new and it's just starting up in March. So if you want to jump into that, all the information is there. Links are below. But for now, we're going to do the live stuff and then we'll get to Q&A. So, hi everybody. Welcome in. Let me move a couple of things around now that I've done my testing. There we go. I put the chat as close to the camera as I can. That way I can like kind of look towards you. That's the plan. Oh, did I just move this window? Did I just very unwisely move a window that was not supposed to move? I did. I did do that. Great. Let me just undo that thing that I had done. Try again. How about now? Did you get it? It's pretty close. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. What about you? Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Cool, I think I got it all. Thank you, Studio Mode and OBS. How's it going, everybody? Happy 2024. I don't think I've had anything live since last year, so hi. Welcome in. For those of you just arriving, how's it going? Where's everybody popping in from? Drop your country or your state, depending on where you're at. I'm always curious where people are at. Let me just keep moving things around because I'm never satisfied with the layout of my monitor. I also just moved, so I'm in a different location. As you might notice if you watch my stuff regularly, I'm in a new spot that you've probably never seen before. And I'm also only on one monitor, which is, I'm having a hard time cramming everything onto one screen. All right, let's see. My chair. Lebanon, Arizona, Sweden, Rhode Island, Tunisia, Australia. Exciting. A lot of cool places. I don't think I've been to any of those places, but, well, I've been to Arizona. That's the only place I've been. All right. Reminder, don't spam questions. If you have a question, feel free to ask it. I will answer it, but if I don't answer it immediately, either it's been buried and you can ask it again once it's like long gone, or here I see the same question 3 times. Just like, patience. Patience. We have a flow here. We got to say hello. We got to get to know one another. We got to hang out a little bit. And I will get to questions. But since you asked, I'm in 10th grade. Do you have any recommendations for videos on animating in Blender? Yeah, I guess so. Actually, I could take this opportunity to briefly mention my animation classes. So a link down below will take you to my courses.sirwade.com website. And there's a couple classes happening right now, or about to start, that are open for enrollment right now. So we've got Intro to Body Mechanics, which you are welcome to use Maya, Blender, Unreal Engine. I support multiple softwares because you don't have to pick a software to do these classes. So if you're trying to learn animation and you're trying to use a specific software, that's fine with me. Obviously, I have like a Maya class, so I'm doing a Maya Animation Essentials the first 2 weeks of March. So if you're trying to learn Maya, maybe that's for you. But if you're trying to specifically use Blender or Unreal, or Maya 2, most of my classes are software agnostic, and you can do the assignments regardless of what tool you're in, and I can typically help troubleshoot. If there's any points where that's not the case, I'll let you know. But in addition, I also have a Blender for Animators course coming soon, which you can jump on the wait list on the website as well. So if you want to know when that's coming, there's that. I also have several Unreal animation classes coming. And so there's a wait list for that as well. But anyways, as far as answering your question just as far as videos, Luciano has some really great Blender animation videos on his channel. So if you go on YouTube and search Blender Luciano animation, you'll definitely find it. And that's like the number one spot I know to go to. I'm sure there's lots, and you can ask on my Discord. I have a Discord link down below too. Lots of people there checking things out. But the most important thing is just start, just to start, just start playing with it. All right. We've got people from Tennessee, from Egypt. People from all over Brazil. Thank you for all your help in the Unreal Fellowship. Oh, you're welcome. I don't know what username that is. I don't recognize the username to know who that is, but I'm glad I could help. Thanks for being here. What's up, Terrence? How you doing? Using my phone to text. No worries. Have you tried out the new Blender yet? The new Blender? I'm in Blender 4. Is that what we're talking about, 4.0? Unless something just came out and I'm not aware of it, but I'm in Blender 4.0. What is the best render? Arnold, Cycles, Lumen, and Unreal. They're all good for different reasons. Personally, I think... lately I've been doing the most work in Unreal Engine, so that's been my go-to. But if yeah, that's been my go-to. I enjoy working in Blender Cycles more than I enjoy working in Arnold, just because I like the shading workflow in Blender more than I enjoy the hypershade in Maya. But Arnold makes some incredible images that, I think it takes a little bit more work to get there, but once you get there, they're great. So there's nothing wrong with any of them. They're all great, and they're all kind of best suited for different needs. It depends on what you're doing, which is the boring answer, but that's the real answer, is there may be legitimate reasons to pick one over the other. But for most people, just whatever you have the most fun doing and whatever kind of supports your workflow the best and keeps you moving. But all three are good. Learn all three if you can. If not, just, go for it. Why do people seem to avoid... Actually, hold on. Well, I'll answer that. I started reading your question. I'll answer your question. Why do people seem to avoid Human IK for character animation? Because any kind of auto rigger is going to be less good than a bespoke custom character solution. Human IK has a lot of features that I know a lot of people who really like, but I think just the user experience is less fun than other choices. That's kind of I don't know. I'm not super familiar with Human IK beyond that. I don't really use it for those reasons. And so that's what I think is the typical answer. If anyone else has a reason they want to drop, then go for it. But let's see. Let me do this. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to pause the questions for just a second. So if you have questions unanswered, hang on to them for a moment. I want to talk about classes for just a minute because that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. And then I have something I want to do. I want to do a Q&A like normal, but I want to do a Q&A with a twist that I'm not going to tell you the twist. And then I'll reveal it later. And then we'll get back to the normal Q&A. So don't worry about it for now. First thing I want to do is I want to talk about the classes though. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk about the classes that are happening. And if you have any class specific questions, we're going to do that first. And then we'll do normal questions and stuff right after. Cool? Cool. Also, how's the music volume? Decent? Can you hear it in a vibey way? Is it too loud, too quiet? I don't have a way to preview it, so hopefully it's good. I did see one question. Do you have any plans to offer payment classes or payment plans for classes? The platform I'm using does have the Klarna Afterpay thing, but I don't have it turned on. If that's something people want, I don't know how. I don't typically use that, but if that's something people want, I can turn that on. But all the payment stuff is kind of just handled through the platform, so I don't have a ton of control over that. But let's talk about the classes. So I've just spent the last little bit updating my website for some fancy things. A link below will take you to all the same pages I'm on. So if you want to, I'll just throw it in the chat too and pin it. Register for classes. Oops. Save your spot. Boop. And then I'm going to try to pin that, except that there's a little emoji thing in my way, and I can't get to my class. I can't get to the button. Ah! I can't reach the pin button. There's like a little heart emoji. Somebody drop a comment. Just like drop any comment so that I can like, I can't get to the little button in the corner. I need it to like be pushed up. So everyone just drop some emojis or something to like push my comment out of the corner here. So I can pin it. Comment, drop some comments. This is a comment. There we go. Got it, thank you. I couldn't pin the stupid thing. That's a design flaw on YouTube Live, I think. All right, anyways, jumping into it. Super quick, I'll just run you through. The first button, so for anybody who's been waiting for my mentorship program, this is my mentorship program. I have been doing a mentorship program on Patreon for 6 years, I think at this point, at least 5. Maybe 4. I don't know. No, it's longer. Definitely longer. It's 2024. Oh my gosh, it's 2024. Yeah, no, it's been 5 or 6 years. I've always done weekly, like one-on-one mentorship stuff, but the wait list is pretty, like there's a wait list there because if it's always full, people don't give up their spots very often. I'm going to hope that's a good thing. And so the list is getting a little bit long, and I wanted to help teach more people and help people with their shots, and due to my time constraints, I can't open a ton more one-on-one slots. And so what I've done is I've created the group mentorship, which is a twice-a-week meeting schedule thing. And it starts in March. So if you want to jump into this, you can try it out for March. It's the first month we're ever doing it, and I'm really excited about it. And so how it's going to work, Morgtor here is in the mentorship. I think he's the most recent person to grab a spot, actually. So the group mentorship is a twice-a-week thing. If you're interested, I'll just scroll down. The levels that I recommend being at, like I can help you if you're a beginning animator, if you're a student animator, or if you're a junior artist. Those are the levels that I'm comfortable mentoring. If you're above that level, if I see your demo reel, if you come to me and say, hey, can you help me? I will look at your demo reel or any work that you have to show. And it's never happened yet, because I think people are generally pretty self-aware. But if someone were to come to me and say, hey, can you help me? And I look at their work and I'm like, oh my God, you're better than I am. Then I would tell them that. But it hasn't happened yet. So the 3 general categories of artists that I typically help are beginning artists, student animators, and junior artists. And then personally, I think it's something that if you are going to an online animation school, I would recommend considering the group mentorship thing I have, because you can read. I won't read this all to you. But it's sometimes helpful to have a second person to help you with your mentorship or with your school stuff. And if you're not part of a program, like no worries, I can kind of provide that for you. And so anyway, the setup is Sundays and Thursdays, and there's review sessions on Sundays, and there's workflow demos on Thursdays. It's kind of like a class environment, and everything's recorded. So every time I do reviews, every time I do demos, workflow examples, if I have like a lecture that I'm like, oh, I want to show everybody this thing or this thing that some tool or whatever, all of it is recorded, and so you have that. So yeah, it's a monthly thing. And everybody who's in my mentorship actually gets a free educational license to Animbot, which is super cool. Thank you to Alan Camilo for doing that for us. And also my mentorship extends to these 3 software applications. I've had people who actually are like, hey, can I come learn After Effects from you? And yes, that is something that like we can do. It's not really animation, but like I don't mind. So that's usually on like one-on-one stuff. But so if you have something you're trying to learn and I can help you learn it, I will do my best. But these are the 3 most common things that people usually want to learn from an animation perspective. So there's that. And then there was a question, how to get free Maya if not a student? If you're not a student, you can get Maya for a 30-day free trial, or you can get Maya Indie, which is the least expensive way to get Maya, which is about the same price as Houdini and a little bit cheaper than Cinema 4D. I think it's like $290 for the year. But if you're trying to get it for free, unfortunately, the only way to do it that I know of is to be a student. Any less official ways I will not endorse. Those are the way that I would say to do it. Yeah, so that's the mentorship program. So if you're interested in checking that out, reserve your spot. There it is. And if you want a discount on the mentorship to try it out for a month, anyone who's signing up for my body mechanics, it's if you're signing up for one or the other, there's a discount either way. So if you're joining the mentorship, there's a discount to join body mechanics, and if you're joining body mechanics, there's a discount to join the mentorship for a month. So you can try both if you want. Intro to Body Mechanics is the next major animation class that I have put together. I'm gonna actually see really quick if I can like show you the last class I did. There it is, let's see. So this was the last class I did, well, not the last one, but this is a class I did over the summer. So last summer, I did this course. Sorry if you can hear the siren behind me, it's really annoying. But I did this class last summer, which was the Animation Basics and Fundamentals course. And it was basically a 5-week crash course for the basics and the fundamentals. This will be coming to my website soon as like a thing you can just kind of get and pick up and watch at your own pace. It's almost done. I just have to redo a couple of the demo recordings just because. But the class is actually all finished and it's all on there. So I did that last year. And so some people took it, and if you missed it, it'll be coming to the website soon. But this is the next class in the series, which is Intro to Body Mechanics. And it's starting in April, so there's a whole month to think about it. I think there should be spots. Hopefully there should be spots for everybody. Not super sure. If you want to make sure you get it, then get it early. I would recommend, but you know, never know. Like right now, people are signing up at like a normal pace, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna go great. And if it starts to like really pick up, then like, hopefully you're in that first round. Because if I have to cap it, I don't know. I don't know what the cap is yet. Anyways, the class starts April 1st, and it's 4 weeks long. So the month of April, it's going to be, where is my schedule stuff? Here it goes, Mondays and Thursdays. So it's Mondays and Thursdays in the afternoon Pacific time, or evening Pacific times. Each class is 2 hours. There's a particular week in there where there aren't classes, and so like the dates, it like bleeds into May a tiny bit. But it's a 4-week long thing. There's a little break in the middle, so you have some time to work. And yeah, it's all recorded. You can use Maya, Blender, Unreal Engine. You can use whatever you want. I've got rig recommendations and things like that, and there's a variety of assignments that are going to be a bit unique to other programs you may have done in the past. So these are a little bit more information. Sorry about that siren. I assume you can hear the siren. I don't know. But anyways, that's Intro to Body Mechanics. That's happening. And then last thing really quick is any beginners. If you are just starting out in 3D and you want to get to know Maya, or you want to get to know character animation and just start to understand it, this is my Maya Animation Essentials course. It is a 2-week quick class in the beginning of March. It is kind of just a crash course in character animation in Maya. Sundays and Thursdays in the evenings. Again, everything's recorded, so if you miss a day or need to go back and watch it, you'll always have access to it. So it's a really good primer for anything else you might want to do character animation here. And this, oh, and I didn't mention prices. Maya Animation Essentials is a $200 class. It's one of the affordable animation classes that I do. Super inexpensive to try and allow as many people as possible to learn this stuff and just get started. Body Mechanics, it is a $400 class. So also super inexpensive compared to any other, you know, university, college, online things similar to it. Yeah, so that's that. And yeah, so that's that. And then just to clear one thing up, if you've taken my Maya for Animators workshop, this is like my giant Maya workshop that I do every couple of years. And it's like 27 hours long. It's like really, really massive and covers like everything that Maya has to offer. It's everything I know how to do in Maya. If you have taken this class, there's no reason you need to take this one, because this is like everything how to do in Maya. This is specifically animation, which is covered in the big one. So if you want to know how to do everything in Maya, including animation, then like Maya for Animators might be the one you want to check out, because it'll get you ready for everything. You have the recording, so even if you're a beginner, you'll have it for later, or if you are advanced, this will get you kind of set up to start building more interesting shots. But if you're just getting started and you just want to just jump into it in 2 weeks, that's this. So this one is starting in March. It starts like March 3rd. So this one, you only have like a week and a half if you want to start this one. But class is filling up as well. So those are those. Oh, did you already mention the cost of the mentorship? I did not. The group mentorship, good question. The group mentorship is a $300 mentorship program, so if you can do it for 1 month, you can do it for as long as you want. It's up to you. As long as I'm doing it, you can join it. So $300 is the cost of the mentorship. And so if you're looking for something that's got some structure, but is also loose and you don't have like, it's flexible. Like if you want to treat every week as a deadline, great. If you don't and like life happens and you need some flexibility, no worries. You can come every week and learn from other people's feedback. That's one of the big things is that, with this, you're basically getting 2 sessions a week. Each one is 4 hours long. Each one is 2 hours long. So it's 4 hours a week, every week. And so if you've got stuff that you're working on every week, you can get feedback every week. If you want to see demos and lectures and like, mini classes every week, then you have access to that and the recorded versions of it. And if you just have stuff going on and you don't get to animate very much and you just want to see what other people are up to and learn from their feedback and all the different types of work, whether it's fundamentals or more advanced stuff or acting or whatever, that's the whole point of the group dynamic of the mentorship, is that every week you'll come and you'll learn stuff. Some of it's based on the work of artists. Some of it is based on the stuff that I'm teaching and showing and demoing and presenting. And so, yeah, that's the mentorship. And again, if you wanted to try that, if you want to try the mentorship or if you want to try the body mechanics class, there's a cross discount between the two. So if you, for example, go to body mechanics or whatever, you try to hit register and it'll take you to the little checkout page. There's a little button that'll say like, do you want to try the other thing? And it gives you a little discount on it. So yeah, anyway, so that's the deal. I have a mentorship, just opened the group thing. Intro to Body Mechanics starts in April, registering now. And Maya Animation Essentials, which is the 2-week beginner course, which starts in March. Starts on March 3rd, which I think is next weekend. Starts next Sunday, a week from tomorrow. So you have like a week to sign up if you want to check that one out. So if you're a beginner, there's that. Yeah. And the last thing I'll mention is that I actually have a lot of classes coming soon that are not listed anywhere, as you'd guess. Some of them are. Blender for Animators and Unreal for Animators. Those are both listed, but those are not the only classes I have. There's an entire series of courses that I'm going to be doing monthly. That is the current plan, to have 1 to 2 classes a month running. Intro to Body Mechanics is the first monthly class. So Intro to Body Mechanics takes up the month of April. Advanced Body Mechanics will be in May. There are more classes beyond for the next couple of months. Not indefinitely, but I have a certain amount of classes and a certain set of ones that I'm trying to do. And yeah, I don't go too in detail until the stuff is ready for you to actually just see it on the page. But there's also a bunch of Unreal Engine classes coming, and those are also a thing. So anyways, if any of these are interesting to you, the links are all down below. Now let me answer some of these questions. I've gone to school for animation, but ended up in 3D towards the end of my college career. 1 year experience. Do you think the Intro to Body Mechanics class would be a good fit? Wait, ended up in 3D towards the end of my college career. I think so. Yeah, if you have any exposure to animation, you could join Body Mechanics without a whole lot of experience, and you'll learn a lot of stuff you're really going to need. And if you've already learned a lot about animation stuff, I'm going to cover it in a depth that I am fairly certain. I'm pretty confident saying that if you have already learned a bunch of stuff about animation and you are still junior artist or greener, if you're beginner, student, or junior artist in that range, I think I will be covering stuff in here that you have not heard before or been taught before, hopefully. If you're actually a junior artist and you're like, are you sure? It's up to you to think how good you feel about your body mechanics. I'll also be doing an advanced class, but yes, I do think that's something that everybody will get something out of. Entering an order. What's next? How to get, oh, yeah, I got that one. When I went to school, we used Redshift, not Maya. Yeah, Redshift is a great renderer, actually. It's comes with Cinema 4D now, I think. Or I don't know if it comes with it, but it's part of Maxon. Great renderer. Okay, how's everyone doing? A lot of familiar faces, familiar names. Monica, Maya Indie is 3. Oh yeah, cover that. By the way, I have a link to Maya Indie down below. So if you need to grab Maya for like a cheaper price, down below is my link to it. And it's also, I think it's a magic link, which means it's an affiliate link, which means that you pay the same amount that you would normally pay, but a cut goes to me. Not out of your pocket, but out of Autodesk pocket. So hey, we'll take it. Thanks for that. I've taken the Maya for Animators Workshop and really enjoyed it. I will definitely look into your other class offers. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I'm very proud of the Maya for Animators class, and I'm trying to bring that energy to the other ones as well. Is it lighter than the full version? Is it lighter than the full version? I assume you're talking about Maya Indie. Maya Indie is the same exact thing as regular Maya. The only thing that makes it indie is that it's a price for individuals and indie artists versus the commercial price of Maya, which is very, very expensive. Because if you're a studio or enterprise organization, Maya licenses are so much money. But if you're like a person or a small studio, you get the indie price. That's the only difference. It's indie for a license price thing, but the software is not any different whatsoever. Same as education. Education version is the exact same, no limitations, except they have that pop-up every time you open and save that says this was made in an education version. So yeah, indie doesn't have that pop-up, which is great. It's worth it just getting rid of that pop-up. Should you go to animation school? Are there any schools that lead to nasty jobs? Wait, hold on. Should you go to animation school? Is there any schools that lead to any nasty jobs? It's an interesting question. I wish I had this as just like a video that I could just like, I should do that next time, just have this move around for me. I'll do this just so that we can see those. Should you go to animation school is a tricky one to answer because like what I would say is you should get an education if you want to be an animator. If you want to learn animation, you should get a good education for it. How you do that is up to you. Do you need to go to a college or university, an online program, some kind of workshop, someone's mentorship, like just watch videos and self-teach? Like there are so many ways to do it, and that the answer depends on you and how you learn and budget and all kinds of things, how much time you're trying to spend doing it. I think you should learn it if you want to learn it, and you should strive to be taught it so that you can get an education in it. But how you choose to do that is up to you, and there's a lot of factors. But as far as are there any schools that lead to nasty jobs, I would say if you end up at a school with a toxic environment, there's a good chance that the jobs that it often like feeds into, like we have these programs with these other studios. I've seen some schools, which shall go unnamed for the moment, that have very, very toxic programs, toxic professors and faculty, toxic student culture. It's just a very bad place to be and learn. And they have like, oh, a lot of our alumni go to these same places. Those studios often have very similar cultures, which is this weird like parasitic structure where they pull their speakers from these places and they pull their new hires from the school. And I've seen that a lot. Not a lot. I've seen it a couple times, but it's very concerning when I see it. So if you find yourself in a toxic learning environment, maybe don't take their advice on where to go work. Could you point out differences between a junior reel versus a mid reel? If I had them in front of me, perhaps I could. But I guess I could say a junior reel is going to be someone who's a little bit, they're fresher out of school. They're going to have very little studio work. Most of it's going to be maybe their own short films or their own projects or maybe some commercial work or maybe like the smaller amount of studio projects that they have worked on just because of the lack of experience. A mid-level reel is just going to have more on it, and the complexity might be higher and the amount of characters might be more. There might be more technical stuff, more subtlety in the acting. It kind of depends, but yeah, it's more of just junior to mid is, you're closer to when you got out of school versus you've been in the industry for a bit. Quick question. If somebody was not able to get into the group mentorship from March, is it something that could be difficult to get into in April or May? I'm a junior animator looking to improve still. That's a great question. No, I don't think it'd be something you need to worry about. I have a cap on how many people can join my one-on-one mentorship because I have to have individual meeting slots for each person and I only have so much time. I do not currently have a cap on the group mentorship, but there's not that many people in it just yet. I don't know what that right number is to cap it. It sort of depends on like, if I have 10 people in it and 7 of them have work every single week on average, like that's very manageable in a 2-hour block for the Sunday review thing. If I end up with 40 people suddenly in it for some crazy reason, then, I might have to consider a cap or at the very least extending the review section or bringing in guest animators to help me do the reviews. I don't know. There's different options there, but at the moment, I'm not concerned about that because I've never had that many people join my mentorship before. At the moment, no. I would not say it's a concern. If you want to join the mentorship, but March isn't right for you, no worries. I think it should be fine to join in April, May, because also some people might try it out in March and they might not stick around. They might say, that was really cool, but I finished my shot and I'm going to take a break or whatever. They might get a job or they might just decide, I want to spend my money on something else. And that's fine. So, no, I wouldn't be concerned about it. Did AM01 years ago, would Maya Animators be a good pickup where I left off? I do have the indie license. Oh, you did AM01 years ago. Would Maya for Animators be a good pickup? That's a good question, Angelo. Well, if you did AM01 years ago, I would say my intro to body mechanics would be a good pickup point, actually. So if you've taken like an animation course somewhere, anywhere, whether it was recent or if it's been a while, I think Intro to Body Mechanics is the perfect place to jump back in. Unless you've kind of forgotten how to use Maya, then I would also add this on too. If you've forgotten how to use Maya, or you're trying to just like get a handle on how to use it well and not be like so afraid of Maya and so nervous about breaking things all the time, like a lot of people, you know how to use what you know how to use, but you're kind of afraid to like do anything and like mess things up. If you're concerned about that, join this class. It's meant to be quick, easy, and cheap. It's meant to be inexpensive for your benefit so that we can just like get you up to speed. And there's some assignments and exercises and things to do. But if you are feeling good about your software and you just want to jump back into animation, Body Mechanics is the place to start. If you want like a more fundamentals refresher, you'll have to wait until I put the actual fundamentals course on my website, but that probably won't happen until like maybe March or April. I'm still working on that. My Maya for Animators workshop, the big one, you can absolutely take it as beginner because it will give you a really good sense of what you can do in 3D with Maya. But I typically recommend, especially anyone who's like halfway through their school program or more, they should definitely be taking this one because not only do you get to really see what like kind of detail you can go into, but you get to learn how to expand your shots and build scenes around your shots to add to the presentation value of your work. Yeah. Let's see. Will you create a course on lighting and rendering? Have you tried AGX and Blender? I don't know what AGX is, so I have not tried that, I don't think. I create a course on lighting and rendering. I don't have a course on lighting and rendering, but I do cover it in the Maya for Animators course, which I guess doesn't really answer your question because you're using Blender. A lot of the same stuff applies between Maya and Blender. I actually do show how to take work from Maya, bring it into Blender, and then work with it there, but it's a very short part of the class. I don't have any current plans to do like a lighting class specifically. I did do a video a couple months ago, 3-4 months ago, on my lighting workflow and how I light shots. So maybe check that out. It's free. There are classes I'm planning on doing later on that will include lighting, though, I will say, but that's several months away from now. Anand, nice to be here. Nice to have you here. Welcome. I hear you can have a student version the moment you buy any Maya course related as long as you provide the receipt as proof. Not sure if that's true, though. I think that used to be true, and then they switched to an accreditation system where you have to have like an EDU email. They also tweaked it at some point, but Autodesk uses, I forget the name of it, but they use some third-party system that populates this like list of approved education institutions. And then when you have an email with one of those organizations, it verifies and says, here's your license. I have tried to get my name added there so that people who are going along with my stuff and watching my videos in general can just grab a license, but it's through that third party. It has nothing to do with Autodesk, unfortunately, so I can't do that. So I don't think the receipt thing works for an Autodesk license, but you can always email them and ask. Maybe I'm wrong. That'd be great if I was wrong. I would love to be wrong about that. What is toxic? Toxic is, I don't know, a mixture of like, it's bad. It's a mixture of unprofessional, inappropriate, or unconducive to like a mentally healthy environment. You know, so an example of a toxic school could be they charge you a bunch of money, they don't teach you anything, they expect you to do it all on your own and be happy about it because that's what it's like in the industry. You need to get used to it and blah, 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 blah. And they basically verbally abuse their students because they're trying to make them tougher. And there's a difference between being direct and straightforward and like giving honest feedback in a professional and in, you know, an encouraging way, in a helpful way. There's a difference between that and being a jerk. And so if there's a school that's just horrible to people and everyone just feels bad all the time about their work and they feel like they're failing and the school just makes them feel like they're failing more, that's a toxic learning environment. And it's not conducive to a positive career experience. So, and it can get a lot worse as well. So that's don't go to places like that. If you end up in a place like that, leave, run, go elsewhere. It is more worth it to learn another way and figure it out than deal with all the stuff you're going to have to unlearn and sort of any potential legitimate trauma you might experience that you're going to have to deal with after. So if you end up in a really bad school or workplace, my recommendation is, if you can, leave. Anyway, college doesn't teach you everything. Yeah, well, generally true. I would like to draw attention to my reviews of my courses on that topic. I'm going to read some of these to you. I'm going to zoom in on them. I learned more in this 1-week workshop than I have in my entire time at university. I get a lot of those very, very kind review comments on my workshops. Let me see if I can find another one. Oh, this is a nice one. This was worth every penny the first day alone. Let's see, there we go. This workshop was a very valuable resource as someone who just graduated from college for animation. I learned settings and techniques in Maya that my school never taught me. I wholeheartedly recommend taking a workshop with this guy. Here we go. Oh, I love this one. I took this workshop as a refresher for the things I learned in college, but ended up learning more in a week than I did in 4 years. That's one of my favorites. So yeah, if you like, straight up, if you are like unsatisfied with your school experience and how much money you might be spending at your school and what you're learning, I recommend my classes. That's the whole point. That's why they're the price that they are. They're designed to be inexpensive comparatively to the other stuff that's out there. And I try to pack them full of as much like just good stuff as possible. Because I don't think people should go into debt for learning this kind of stuff. The only reason they're not free is because I have bills to pay too. But I try to make them balance out to where they're 100% worth it. So that's always my goal. All right. How do you start to learn 3D animation? I have experience in 2D animation, but I don't know where to start when it comes to 3D. How do you start to learn 3D animation? I have experience in 2D. I mean, honestly, that's exactly what this class is for. But in general, tutorials, right? Like just like tutorials, and just try to apply what you know in 2D in 3D. Just try to do the stuff, anything you know how to do in 2D, just try to do the simple stuff in 3D. Because you first have to like learn how it works, like how to talk to the computer, the software side of it. You have to overcome that technical barrier, but it's all the same beyond that. Animation's animation, regardless if it's 3D, 2D, stop motion, or whatever. So you just have to practice. I'll leave this open. This is cool. This background animation, by the way, this is part of a video I'm working on that is hopefully going to be done in the next couple of days. I have 2 videos that I'm working on. Actually, I have several videos that I'm working on, but I have 2 main videos that I'm working on right now, and this is part of one of them. So you'll get to check that out soon. Let's see. I'm currently attending Anim School. Got a couple classes left before graduation. I was considering taking a rendering class to help make my shots look better. Do you think I could benefit from it? Totally. Yeah. I mean, 100%. I don't know how much rendering classes cost and how much work they are and stuff. So like, I don't know what kind of class you're looking at, but yeah, I think it's a great skill to have, and it will make your shot pop a lot more. That's kind of what I teach in the Maya for animators. If you want another recommendation from me, selfishly being like, hey, I've got stuff. But if you've got something in mind, yeah, I don't see any reason why it would be a bad idea. What's your favorite shot you worked on, or which project are you really proud of? I actually just worked on something. I just worked on something that I can't tell you what it is. I didn't sign an NDA, but they would have wanted me to in terms of communication, so I'm going to just go with that. I did just work on something. It was a pitch for a project. That's really all the detail I can go into, but a certain group or company approached me to help with a project that they wanted to pitch to studios, and they wanted some character animation help, specifically some facial animation done. That's about all I can say publicly about what the project is, but it was a really fun little thing to work on. It only took me like a week to do, but it looks really cool. The end product is pretty sweet, and it was an interesting like pipeline we had to build, because we were doing stuff in Unreal Engine, we were doing stuff in Maya, we were doing stuff in 3ds Max, and so my workflow, I can't really tell you much, but basically I worked with a couple of artists. We worked with a rigger that I know who's super talented, and he just did he built a couple tools and scripts that allowed us to, there's a character set up in Unreal Engine, but it was kind of built in a really weird way, and the facial animation needed to be done in Maya for some of the shots because it needed a little bit extra oomph beyond what the rig was set up for in Control Rig in Unreal. And so there was like a separate facial rig in Maya, and so we would sort of like import the shots from Unreal back into Maya. We had this tool that would connect it to the face I was animating. I would then animate just the face, not even the head, just the face on top of the head. You know, it looked like the whole regular scene. I just didn't touch the head or the neck or anything because I was just doing the face. And then all that all got exported back through all this other stuff into Unreal. It was a whole thing, but it was really cool. It was really fun. So I really enjoyed that. That was a blast. So I've been enjoying things like that. But I can't show you the work, obviously. What's the preferred 3D app in studios? Maya, Blender, C4D? Depends on the studio, depends on the work. Maya is very popular for a lot of reasons. Blender is very popular in some studios for certain reasons. And Unreal Engine is extremely popular in other studios for various reasons. Cinema 4D is also used a lot, especially in commercials. But it depends. All the softwares are good for different things. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Use what you want to use and whatever works best for the tool you're working on, or the project that you're working on. Okay, so Wade, in your DreamWorks days, what do you remember about working with models made up of NURBS? I don't remember any models being made of NURBS. I don't think we had models made of NURBS. No, it was all polygon models. NURBS was like not a thing for us. And if it's for some reason is at this point, that's like a new thing, because it was not while I was there. Everything was ZBrush sculpted, polygonal modeling, hard surface, yeah, regular models, geometry. What are your thoughts about Sora, the video AI generated by OpenAI? I have a lot of thoughts about Sora. On one hand, part of me is like, well, that's really cool. And on the other hand, a big part of me just goes like, oh, great. Like, a bunch of stuff that wasn't properly licensed is being taken and used for people to do stuff with without the proper permission, and also so that others can screw artists, you know? Part of me is really excited about the technology, just, you know, because it's cool, and I like technology, and I like the advances from that perspective. It's interesting to me, but I just wish it were being done more ethically from the start, because now we've gone down this slippery slope where things are moving so fast with no consideration for how they should be being implemented and how they should be being built, and it's problematic. So it's a cool technology, but there's a lot of other stuff that sort of mars that for me, unfortunately. What about Maya Creative? Is it like Maya LT? Maya Creative. I don't know what Maya Creative is. Maya LT is like a lighter version than Maya. I would not recommend Maya LT, but I don't know what Maya Creative is. Does the spot reservation waitlist go until next year? Like, will you go to next year and we'll go to the first come first served list? Wait, hold on. Does the spot reservation waitlist go until next year? Will you go to next year and be the first come first served list? Andrew, I'm not sure which. Are you talking about the mentorship or the classes? Like, what thing are you specifically thinking of, like, jumping into, and maybe thinking about the wait list? Then I can tell you how it's going to work. I don't have anything on like a year-long timer, so I'm not sure where the question's coming from exactly. Do a backflip. I have not put together any 24-hour animation challenges, but I would love to. I just haven't done it yet. I want to do something a little bit weird. I want to do, so for everybody who's here, you get to participate in something that I hope will be interesting. Give me just a second to hit a button here. All right, let me make sure that doesn't break anything. All right, that should be working. I'd like to try something. I have a video idea. I'm not going to tell you what the video idea is, but I would like your help with it. So if you'd like to participate in it, here's what's going to happen. We're going to do a little Q&A. We're going to spend about 15 minutes maybe. We're going to spend about 15 minutes doing a Q&A, and there's a twist. And I'm not going to tell you the twist. You can guess. You might get close, but you won't get it exactly. I can almost guarantee it. We can talk about what the twist might be after, but for now, what I'd like to have happen is ask me anything about animation, specifically anything that you think I can like help with. If it's like workflow wise, or stuff about like working on shots, or industry questions, or career questions. Nothing that's like too like recent and specific, just like, you know, anything that you think would be generally helpful to you as an artist and as an animator. So ask me anything, and I'm going to answer you. And there's a twist in there, and you'll guess, and you'll get close. You might, but you won't get it exactly. So ask away. Ask away. First, let's see. How? Let me try something. Hang on. Okay. So, how did you get into the industry? I got into the industry by being hired as an animator. Actually, I got into the industry by being hired at DreamWorks. Okay, hold on. I'm already running into an issue with my little twist here. I'll just answer your question. I got into the industry when I finished animation school, and I got hired as a trainer at DreamWorks back in 2016, I think, 8 years ago. And I was there for a couple of years. And I worked with animation, but I wasn't an animator at DreamWorks. I was in training and education. And then when I left, I was focused full-time on YouTube. So I've been full-time on YouTube ever since I left DreamWorks. But in the meantime, I've done a lot of freelance projects and a variety of other things, and working with different companies. And so, but my first exposure to the industry and my first studio job was at DreamWorks about 8 years ago when I first got there. Classes and mentorship. Oh, classes and mentorship. Will something be open after April? Yeah, so just a quick side note here. The body mechanics class, the intro to body mechanics, is happening in April. In May, I'll be doing an advanced body mechanics class. And in general, the mentorship that I'm doing, the group mentorship, that will be every month. Like that's just going to exist from now on until for some reason I might, if it ever changes. But for the foreseeable future, the mentorship will just exist every month and you can join it at any time. So yeah, if you miss like the intro, if you miss the intro to body mechanics class, for example, I don't know when I'm offering that again. And I don't have like a wait list for that. I just have enrollment opportunity to join the current run of the class. So. Can I guess your age? I guess so. It's going to change in a couple of weeks. What's the best way to get flow to an animation after you have blocked the key poses? You might be talking about the technique splining. It's the process of getting smooth and continuous motion between two or more poses or keys. It involves having a series of intermediate poses called, just different types of keys, or some people might call them spline points that connect the key poses and create a smooth transition between them. Typically, you'll start by creating a series of keys that connect, or a bunch of different poses that'll all connect. This thing I'm doing is kind of goofy. Give me a second. If that's what you mean by flow, that might be one. That might be one thing. By the way, if you ask me a question in this little block of time, I'm doing a thing right now. Ask me any question. I'm going to answer it. And if you're not satisfied with the answer, after I finish my little twist here, we'll come back and revisit it. So, yeah. Splining can be a time-consuming process, and it's important to take your time and get the timing and the movements just right. It's also a good idea to review those changes regularly and make adjustments as needed to make sure that everything is natural feeling. Do I think indie animation is the future and will big studios die out? It's difficult to predict the future with certainty, but it's clear that the industry is constantly evolving and there are a lot of different opportunities always available for animators. While indie animation is definitely going to become more popular in the future, it's unlikely that the big studios will completely die out. There's always going to be a demand for high quality animation, and those studios typically have the resources to bring on the expertise and produce the large scale projects that it might be hard for indie studios to all handle on their own. Some will. But I think in smaller studios and independent animators, they may become more prominent in certain areas of the industry. But yeah, there's a lot of factors. Bernard LaBelle. The name looks a little familiar, but I don't think I know this person. If I saw his face, maybe I'd recognize him if I do know him, but the name doesn't ring a bell. What are good ways to get into the industry, specifically get into big studios like Pixar and DreamWorks? Well, the first thing is just to get a job in the industry, whether it's at a big studio like Pixar, DreamWorks, or a similar studio. But there's a lot of opportunities in the industry beyond just the major studios, so you should be open to different options. One way to get into the industry is to apply for internships, entry-level positions, things like that. It may not be the dream job, but it can be a great experience, stepping stone. It can be a great way to make connections and meet people in the industry. You can also work as a non-artist at big studios, like how I was in the training department, for example, to get your foot in the door and start learning. You can work at smaller studios that relate to animation. They may not be as well known, but they can provide valuable experiences and opportunities to work on projects that you may not have had the chance to work on at a big studio as well. You get to wear many more hats and things like that. So really the advice is to be open to different opportunities and be willing to take on new challenges. So with time, dedication, you might end up deciding you don't even want to stick at the big studios, but even if you still do, it's going to get you there eventually. Usually. What is the best way to animate a large scene? It depends on the complexity of the scene, how much detail is required, and the resources you've got, and time, and things like that. But, I mean, definitely the things you're going to want to do are plan ahead. Before you even start, you want to have a clear plan and a concept of what it is you're actually hoping to make. Blocking, camera movements, character poses, other things like that. And so break down the scene into smaller, manageable parts. It makes it easier to deal with each part, and then combine them at the end to combine this to create the final scene. Obviously, you're going to want to use keyframes and splines, and optimize your workflow. So there's going to be different tools that can help you speed up the process. So when you have large scenes, it'll help if you can utilize a lot of the stuff they give you to, make things a little bit more efficient. But use reference to guide you through the process, and use compositing. Overall, though, the key to animating a large scene is to plan ahead, break it down into smaller parts, and really optimize your workflow to best use your reference to create an appealing final product. What's the best way to approach an animation of dance choreography? I'm going to say, again, probably reference. Anything you record yourself or stuff you find online to recreate the dance choreography in your tool. You can then, base stuff off the reference, but add your own creative choices to make it more appealing than the actual reference was. And there are certain workflows that might make that easier as well. So like a workflow that I covered in one of my videos in the professional workflows video was the extreme technique, the extremes, animation extremes technique, where you focus on the extremes of each axis of motion, like translation, rotation, scale separately, X, Y, and Z, to create, it's a specific workflow, but it can be helpful depending on what you're up to. But in general, identifying key poses, anticipations, overshoots, and other things like that to make sure you're getting all the depth of the reference. I'm gonna keep going through these. If you're just joining and you're wondering why I'm like answering and kind of laughing about the answers, it's a twist. I'll tell you in a bit, but just keep asking questions. Is the Body Mechanics class for Blender users? Body Mechanics is open to any software. You can use Maya, you can use Blender, you can use Unreal Engine. Totally up to you. It will work in all three, yes. It's not software specific. Will AI replace human artists? No, and any company that thinks it is going to and they start just working with AI, they're gonna have just bad work. Hang on a second, I just realized I was trying to show a page that you guys can't actually see, so let me fix this. Let me move this over here. Let's do this. There you go. I'll leave this open so that people can see this. All right. Yeah, so anyway, the question of will AI replace people? No. AI can be used to automate certain tasks and improve efficiency, and it's still going to require oversight. It's going to need decision making. It's not capable of creating art with creativity or emotion and depth that artists can do. So it can be used to generate art, but it's limited just by the stuff it's been trained on, which hopefully isn't stolen and has been licensed properly anyway. But it's not going to be able to create original or unique art. So no. How long should you practice ball animation exercises before moving on? You kind of always want to make sure that you never stop, like you don't do it once and say, I'm done. And you don't do it twice and say, I'm done, but you don't necessarily have to do it for all time until you die. Like you work on it until you've got it, and you revisit it when you need to learn a new lesson from it. So it's just kind of always part of things. But really what you should do is you should establish yourself with the fundamentals. Like really make sure you understand all of the lessons of the fundamentals and the principles of animation. That's kind of the main goal, rather than worrying about like, how long should I be working on this one particular thing? It's like, make sure you understand everything involved with that type of shot. What are your steps when, what is your steps when you're working and animating character, starting with face or body? Definitely body, but in general, like when you're working on a character, like the steps I would say are, some kind of planning, then basic posing, making sure that the poses are good, and then refining and adding more and more poses in detail, making sure you get all the breakdowns and in-betweens and things like that, all those transitions, and eventually polishing it up, any last details you want to add. Like that's kind of the general flow, but always body first. Well, how do you find the freelance world? Can I make a living of it as a fresher? Freelance world can be challenging. It can also be rewarding, but it may be difficult at the beginning to find client and make a living from it. But with the right approach, you can build a successful career. One of the most important things when starting out in freelancing is finding clients. It can be hard to actually find clients through online platforms. There's things like Upwork and Fiverr and things like that, but they're not really a great fit for a lot of people, especially for creative freelancing. It might be more effective just to network with people in the industry and attend conventions to meet clients that way. Also, pricing. You have to consider, figure out your budget. You have to consider your overhead costs, your rent, your bills, your other expenses, software costs, things like that. And you have to put all that into the formula when determining how much to charge for your work. And you have to factor in your experience, the value you bring to the table, and things like that. It's hard. It's not easy. It takes dedication and it takes time to build up the client base and gain experience and things like that. So those are some of you can do it. It's tricky, and you got to make sure you're doing what you're good at. And make sure that you're actually able to deliver on what you're trying to sell. So you were never animated who worked on movies. I never worked on a DreamWorks film on anything you saw on screen. I have some credits at DreamWorks. I worked on movies, but I didn't work on any. I was not an animator on any of the shots that you saw in the film. No. And I'm never going to hide that from you. No. Excuse me. I worked on the movies behind the scenes, like a lot of the people at the studio. So no, I was not an animator at DreamWorks with any shots in the film. What's your best advice on handling lip sync animation? I'm working on a performance shot for the first time right now, and I'm struggling with how insane the number of controls is. Yeah, no kidding. It's a lot, for sure. I have a video that's like a 45-minute tutorial. It's my whole process, but my big thing is to focus on what I call the 4 components of language for animation. The corners of the mouth, the corners of the mouth, in and out, the up and down of the jaw, the tongue, and the lip shape. I start by blocking in the major shapes that have hard rules, M's and O's and other sounds of interest, anything really important. Then I do a pass of things like expressions and poses of the corners and those various factors of the face, always focusing back in on kind of the subtext of what's being saying or how it's being said, subtext and context of how it's being said. And you just have to keep adding breakdowns and then fine-tuning, and then eventually you can start to polish stuff. But it's a lot of it's a long process. I really like that process, and I will have classes on that as well, if that sounds interesting at all. But in general, I would say if you're working on a lip sync animation shot, go watch my video on it. It's 45 minutes long. It will cover hopefully everything you need to really have a good base going forward into it. And just a thing on the amount of controls, if you have Animbot, use selection sets. If you don't have Animbot, I show this in my Maya workshop thing. I think I also might show it in some old Maya tip video, but make selection buttons so that when you click a button, it's give me the lip controls, boop, and it grabs all the lip controls. Being able to just quickly hit a button and it grabs all the controls like a picker, a lot more helpful than going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and having to click all the things individually. Saves you a lot of time. Why scene and scene is pronounced the same, but writing them is different? I don't know. There's a word for that. It's a homophone. I think it's called a homophone. Words that sound the same but mean different things. I remember that from 1st to 2nd grade. How do you deal with smaller movements and secondary motion, all the small things? Reference is very helpful to make sure you can find that stuff and see where it's going to go, but don't start with those things. Start with the big stuff, do the small stuff later. So as you begin to add more detail and lock down more things in your shot, eventually you can start adding those little bits of detail. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I would do. You're an Annam School alumni. So am I. I am not. I'm sorry if I said something that sounded like I am. I went to Animation Mentor, but I never went to Annam School. But I really like the people at Annam School. They're very nice. I've met the top people at the school before, and they're very kind. But I've never taken the class there. It seems cool. Will you open our file and critique it during the body mechanics class? I might, yeah. I do that kind of stuff in my mentoring, for sure. I don't know if there's time to do it. Actually, let me rephrase. I doubt there's going to be time to actually open Maya files or Blender files or Unreal Engine files in the body mechanics class, but I do that kind of thing in my mentorship program. So if you want to join the group mentorship, which is this, then yes, absolutely. I open people's files all the time and work through problems and show, like, here's what your curve is doing this, and it should be this, and like this is why you're having an issue. It's whatever. Yes, I do that in here, but I won't be doing that in like this class because I think there's so much like other stuff to cover. I won't have time to like dive into files and troubleshoot when someone's like, oh, like I need the file, it's referenced, I don't have your prop. So, but yes, I will be opening up the files and critiquing it in the mentorship. What do you think about software using AI to help the animator, like Cascadeur is doing? It's a thing, There might be use cases for it. Personally, it's not something that I need or particularly want. But there may be situations. I mean, everyone right now is trying to find ways to use AI for benefits. So we'll see what sticks. We'll see what ends up being useful. From a production perspective, or from like industry quality expectations, there's very few AI things currently actually helpful right now, but we'll see as things continue to develop what we end up with. It's cool to see people trying stuff, though. Does having a large following help you land a job? No. I mean, well, actually, if we're talking about freelance, then yes. Straight up, if having a large following doesn't necessarily help with like an actual job, it can be helpful for like your portfolio and to be able to showcase your work because you get seen more easily. It's no kind of like guarantee of employment. Like they don't care if I have like a YouTube channel or something. It doesn't help them. It's just the focusing and building your skills and experience and that kind of stuff is more important than trying to build a following for that reason. But for like freelance stuff, sure, I'm more exposed to clients and things like that, I guess. So, from a freelance perspective, yes, kind of, but also like not entirely, not really. But from like an animation job perspective, not at all. So, did you light a scene before or after? Typically after, but if you, it's generally recommended to light a scene after you've already done all the other stuff because it can, worry about it later. But it can also affect the mood and the tone and like the feel of a shot. And so you might want to have an idea of that up front and then have a clear understanding of what you want from that so that you can work with that in the rest of your pieces of like with the animation stuff. But so because it can affect the performance of the animation in that way. So you can test and adjust it, but like don't worry about it too much until the end. That's one of the things about Unreal Engine that's so cool is like you can have lighting the whole way through. Versus, usually that's not how we work. But in Unreal Engine, that's one of the big draws of it. What do you think about the uncertainty of the current job market in animation? I mean, I only have my opinion on it, you're just going to hear my side of it. Oh, yeah, you're kind of already talking about. So many people were switching from feature to gaming because of massive layoffs, but layoffs meaning gaming animators losing their jobs as well. The industry is not in a great place right now. It's really not going well for a lot of people. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, I feel like if you're asking the question, the situation. If you haven't heard about this, a lot of really big companies, especially really big companies, like a lot of companies have just been doing these massive layoffs all the time. I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about it, but like none of them are particularly sage wisdom or here. I'm not going to say anything like too fancy or, nothing you haven't heard before, I'm sure, but just like a lot of a mix of, I don't know. It's a mix of poor planning. It's a mix of greed. It's a mix of like bad decision making. It can be a lack of confidence in artists. It can be a lot of executives just being really dumb. I don't know. There may be, genuinely decent reasons to have to pivot, but it doesn't seem like that's a lot of what's going on. I don't know. I don't have like a lot to say. I don't have like a developed opinion because I'm not experiencing it and I'm not talking to a lot of people who are currently going through a lot of that stuff. It's been a couple of months since I've talked to somebody who was a part of a layoff, but they keep happening and no one likes it, right? Like I'm not happy about it. I think it's ridiculous and I think it sucks, but I don't really know what else to say about it. Sorry if that's like a lame answer, but it's just like a lame situation. I don't know. Are you using AI to answer our questions? Not entirely. How will you create the files during the body mechanics? Oh, how will I create? Well, create. How will you critique the files during the body mechanics class? So I'll be critiquing PlayBlast in the class. So you'll have your camera set up, you'll PlayBlast, and I'll be doing reviews on Sync Sketch and drawing over and things like that. But in the group mentoring, I do that and open files. If there's a reason that I really need to open a certain file to like teach something really interesting in body mechanics, like sure, but I'm not gonna count on that or promise that. But yeah, typically I'm gonna be just drawing over on Sync Sketch. And if you have something specifically in your file that you need help with, PlayBlast from different angles, like show me the stuff, like send, include screenshots of your graph editor. Like you can submit whatever you want to submit and I can like look at it. Once you get good at things like the graph editor, you don't necessarily have to, like once you understand how the graph editor works and how animation works, you'll get to a point where like when I'm giving feedback a lot of times for body mechanics stuff, I'll see like a weird issue with a, mechanic shot or something, some character locomotion, and I'll be able to say, oh, your rotation X looks like this, doesn't it? And they look at their screen and they go, yeah, that's what the curve looks like. It's like, yeah, that's the problem because like this key you have either up here or down here, like whatever's causing it to do this, whatever thing it's doing right here, that key needs to look instead like this. Like, oh, okay, and then they fix it. So, like if you have a major issue with your mechanics, usually the curves are also easy to identify. So I don't usually need to open the file for something like that. What's up, Luis? How you doing? What subjects do you cover in the mentorship? Anything specific? The mentorship's a mix. So the mentorship I cover, for the review sessions, I just review the work and I go with that. The workflow stuff, I usually go based on what people need. So if say there's 10 people in the thing. Say 3 of them are looking at fundamentals, 3 of them are doing body mechanics, and 3 of them are doing advanced acting. 1 week I might do a full 2-hour demo in one of those categories, because acting might require a full thing, and so everyone gets to watch that. Sometimes I might split it, where it's like, okay, well, I'll do a quick demo for something that helps the fundamental people, and then I'll do something else that's got like body mechanics and acting to help the other group. So we'll see. Like usually people end up kind of doing similar types of shots to each other. So it's like, oh, everyone's struggling with the same kind of stuff with body mechanics, so I'm just gonna do a body mechanics day. So the workflow demos, I don't have a specific plan for them. It's very much a flexible or by request type of thing based on what people need in their reviews. So it's very contextual. I hope that answers your question. So I don't have there's not like a agenda for what I plan to do in every single group mentorship lecture thing. It's just based on what I think would be beneficial. Or if someone has a question, like, can you show how to do this? I'm like, yes, I can do that. With the group mentorship, will there be set days or will you be working with the students? Wait, will there be set days or will you be working with the students to find 2 days that work best for their schedules? Sundays and Thursdays. That's the current. The group mentorship is Sundays and Thursdays 2 hours each. It's Sundays at 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 to 7 p.m. on Thursdays Pacific for these things, because that's the times that I can do. But if that's like, oh, I can't do that, it's all recorded. It's all going to be recorded in the same way that my classes are recorded. You'll have the same access through the same system. So when you log into your mentorship dashboard, you'll have links to both Sunday and Thursday review and workflow demo sessions, and you'll have records on the left of every other session that's happened with recordings you can watch. So if you're like, oh, there was a demo on how to animate weight and have like how to show weight and have a character seem like a superhero or something, like to make them really strong but still have it heavy or whatever. I missed it. The recording's there. You can just watch it. And so it's like a monthly thing. And whenever you get a certain month, you get access to that month. So, yeah. I think that answers your question. With signing up for group, you said that you would review reels to see if you can help. Do you do that before collecting payment, or do you just refund after payment? I've never had to do it before, but yeah, like it's always just after. So like when you sign up, you get access. If you were to sign up, if you were to say, I want to jump in the group mentorship, and you hit the little button, and you come over here, and it's like, I'm going to sign up. If you sign up and it turns out that you're like a prodigy and you're like actually really good and you're like beyond my ability to help you, I will just refund you the money and say, you know what, I think you're good. Like you might need to try another mentor because I don't think I can do anything for you. I'll just refund you. I haven't had to do that before. I always say that because I want people to know that that's how things will go. I'll never be like, sorry, it's not refundable. Like, it's fine. But that's never happened before. I've never had anybody too advanced sign up. Not because I'm so good, just because I think everyone who knows that they don't need it, they don't bother signing up. But if you're like, I think I might like it, probably means I can help. And I've had a couple people who are like working in the industry in the mentorship for a certain amount of time, like people who are more advanced or more experienced, they typically will join for a while, get help with a shot, and then maybe they're good after that and they go do their own thing. Like, you know, not everyone stays around forever. Some people I've had in the mentorship for much longer because they basically use my mentorship instead of going to a school. Because it's a little bit, it can be slower paced potentially. It can work a little bit better with schedules. So different reasons why people join, but yeah. Oh, breaking things. Animation related questions. Generally, how does one get better at animation? Any practices or exercises? Yeah, I mean, totally. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. Like to get better in general, first thing is develop your eye. You know, watch movies and TV shows and absorb everything you can from the stuff that you are inspired by. You might also learn some new techniques and styles if you try to kind of replicate that just for your own practice, not for demo reels. But find the clips you like, frame through them, analyze, observe. Great animation, it can improve your eye and help you learn the techniques through, you know, either analysis or replication. But just do stuff as close to daily as possible. Just do little challenges, small stuff, manageable tasks, just to keep you motivated, to keep you engaged in it. But, you know, some simple things are like, always try to improve at posing. Just, you know, make sure that you're always focused on weight and balance. And also taking a break is just as important as being super into it. Like make sure you're not burning yourself out. Like you need to make sure you take time away from every shot or every project you do so you can look at it, do as much as you can, take a breather, come back and look with fresh eyes. That way you can actually judge your work appropriately. And seek feedback because you're going to need other people's insight to see anything that you don't see as you continue to evolve your eye. And then just do everything you can to, you know, find new exercises, to come up with new exercises, or to find or to decide things based on your observations. If you see people doing little things, if you see someone like biting their nails and they look at their fingers, you know, animate that. Animate someone like biting their nails. Why not? If you see with someone who's like doing something weird, they like scratch their eye a funny way, you know, they do some weird like eye rub, or it's like, okay, like that's bizarre, but like, have you ever seen anyone do that in a demo reel? I can't think of a time I've seen someone like leaning on their hand and they're like, oh. So take those little things and use them. Try those as exercises. Or something more basic if you're not quite that advanced yet. Did you think about opening a kids channel like CoComelon with your animation? I have never considered that. No. I'm not interested in that. I know that there is a vast amount of money in making kids content, and I am not interested in making low quality kids content or even high quality kids content. It's just I'm not into it. If I ever were to make kids content, I'd want it to be like the Mr. Rogers direction of making kids content, where it's like actually good, helpful stuff, like Bluey, as people say. Like I know a lot of parents who are like, they stand by Bluey as like an excellent show for kids and adults alike, where something like CoComelon is just cocaine for children. So like, no, I'm not interested in making kids content unless I can ever work on something like Kipper. I loved Kipper when I was younger. It's like I'll work on the Kippers, but not the Cailloux. I'll work on the Avatar, but not Franklin. You know what I mean? Like, anyway. But no, I have no plans to do anything like that at this point. In your opinion, what's the best way to advertise animations you make and post on YouTube or other platforms? Do you typically think it would be spread by word of mouth? Well, what's like the goal? You mean just to like get it out there? I mean, yeah, just post wherever, right? Like you could make a website, you could just use social media accounts, you could do one specifically for your animation work. If you're trying to increase visibility, there's hashtags and that kind of stuff. If you're working with other artists, then there's more people there to share, potentially, if people are all sharing with their work. Events and conferences help for like big projects if you had the means to like do something like that. But I mean, you just make good stuff and put it out there, and people will typically find it. I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you make animation and you put it out and nobody sees it, it's either just unlucky that sometimes that happens, or people just aren't resonating with it, is also possible. Hard to say. I don't know. Will there be any live classes in the Intro to Body Mechanics workshop? Oh yeah, the whole thing's live. Yeah, all my classes are live. The way that I do this is when I do a class, I teach the class live. So the whole class is a live thing. We do it on Zoom. So it's Zoom sessions we held via Zoom, Mondays and Thursdays. So yeah, the beginners class, the body mechanics class, like they are live classes. I teach them. You're in the Zoom call, ask questions. Like it's super engaged. And then when it's finished, like you will keep the recording. It's all recorded. So I guess that's the distinction, right? It's like it's a live class that is also recorded, that you have access to the class recordings. And then typically once I finish the class and I've like, I worked through all the bugs by doing it live, I will then like digitize it, and then it'll become an online course that people can then like grab later. And it might have some extra stuff that I've added in there, but like all the classes that I'm like, I'm doing this class, sign up now, like they're live. Yeah, totally. Even the mentorship, same thing. It's like a live thing, and then you have the recordings. The hardest thing I think to animate is bugs with all the legs. Yeah, there's a lot of like procedural systems to help with that, because that's a whole thing. You got to use like copy paste workflows or something, because or scripts and tools. Did I just get deja vu, or did you explain this earlier? I probably explained it earlier. People come in and out of live streams, right? So like there's probably people in here who like, even though I just talked about the classes, they probably are like, oh, you're doing classes? I didn't know that. Because people come in and out. So yeah, you might hear me repeat things a couple times. I should mention, I will repeat myself just to say, the Maya Animation Essentials class, this like basics class of like, hey, like you're starting out, it's 2 weeks, it's the beginning of March. It's a really inexpensive course to just get you started. It starts next weekend. Starts next Sunday. So if you want to do it, sign up like this week. Grab a spot. Intro to Body Mechanics, you have a little bit longer, in theory, as long as it doesn't fill up. But it's 4 weeks. It starts in April. So you have a little bit of time to decide if you want to take it. But I think it'll be good. Will the mentorship guide us in making demo reels, like what to put and not to? Yeah, yeah, I mean, people use my mentorship for different reasons. Some of them are like, hey, I'm just learning and I'm like, I just need some help with like what to work on and I need feedback on my shots and I just want to regularly get better. Other people are like, I've learned a bunch of stuff. I'm not getting hired. I need a job. What's going on? And we'll look at the demo reel and we'll make a plan and we'll be like, okay, well, you should do this type of shot. And then that's what they start to work on. And so, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like you work on stuff and then I give you feedback and I try to help how I can. But some people have a goal of just learning because they know they're more beginner and they just need to learn. And other people are like, I need a job. Help me with a shot that's going to go on my demo reel. So, yeah, it will, like, yeah, that's part of the conversation. I'm not just going to blindly be like, everybody must do this shot and then this shot and then this shot. And like, I don't care what it's like, I want you, the things you work on to actually help you achieve the goals you're setting for yourself. If I need help with finalizing my student show reel and I need help specifically with planning it all out, would your mentor be a good option for me in this case and how would you go about it? Finally, yeah, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, like that's a great example. That's actually a great example of like, so like the review session is like, we could go through your demo reel in a review. Like I could review your demo reel and give you feedback and critique the shots, kind of the overall flow and things like that. And like discuss it in depth. And then, if hypothetically, like if everyone, it's like, okay, everybody send me 3 shots that you've worked on or something. And I get this like collection of shots from these different levels. What I could do is I could construct 3 different demo reels of different levels. Like, okay, I'm going to take all the beginner shots, all the intermediate shots, all the advanced shots, and I will construct demo reels and show you how to edit them together, how to make them whatever. Like, yeah, like that's a good example of like the types of things that could potentially happen in like the review versus workflow demo. So it's like, we will go as in depth as I can to help answer those questions and solve those problems. That's very specific. Most of the stuff isn't like demo reel specific, but like if that's what you're struggling with, then like, yeah, then that's what we talk about with your review. And I can demo anything that you need. So that's the whole point of this. Absolutely. I've been told by a friend that I should stop trying to make a better life for myself because realistically, it's not going to happen. What? I'm learning Blender right now, and your knowledge is a huge help. Well, congratulations on learning Blender. I'm glad that my stuff can be a huge help, and that is terrible advice from your friend. You've been told by a friend that you should stop trying to make a better life for yourself because realistically, it's not going to happen. Slap that person in the face, but maybe don't take that as real advice, and I'm not condoning violence here on YouTube. This is not legal advice, but what the heck? Like, no, what? If anybody ever in your life tells you should stop trying to make a better life for yourself because it's not going to happen realistically, not to like, I don't know your friend, but they don't sound like they're your friend. Just like, that's never good advice. This person does not sound like they're your friend. They sound like they're trying to keep you down. That's bull. That's ridiculous. No, absolutely not. You should always. That's dumb. Your friend's ridiculous. How do you compare your classes to Animation Mentor, specifically the Intro to Body Mechanics course? It's a good question. So, how do I compare my classes to Animation Mentor's classes? I don't really compare them. Like I'm not trying to like. My classes are very different than the classes at the other online animation schools. Animation Mentor, for example, I went through that when I was a student. It's a 12-week course. Mine's a 4-week class. They have certain assignments that they're going to have you do. There might be a little bit of overlap, but like I'm going to have you do different assignments. I'm going to have you do them in different ways. I'm going to have different requirements for them. They're going to have a certain amount of time that they give you for each of those assignments, and I'm going to have different amounts of time that you're given for the assignments I have you do. They have their like pre-recorded lectures and the class with your mentor. I have my live session for review, I have my live session, not review, that's mentorship. I have my 2 live sessions a week. So there's 2 live sessions with me. It's just different. It's apples to oranges. Like I don't want to put out some kind of like, mine's better. Theirs is what, it's not, I don't have like an official statement on that. It's just that it's different. I am really proud of the classes that I make, and I really believe in them. I put them out because I think I have learned cool stuff that can help people. And if you feel like that my classes could help you, then I agree. There are things that certain animation schools do that I have my own opinions about. Some things I think they do really well. Some things I think could be done better. The things that I feel like they could do better are things that I've tried to do better at. And so if there is anything that I think, like a school like Animation Mentor or any of the schools, if there were anything in their classes that I think like, you know what, they didn't really teach me this, they didn't really cover this enough detail, like I don't feel like I don't think I got this from my time there, those are things that I've focused on making sure that they are in my classes. That's really all I can say. Obviously, I'm trying to be very, very diplomatic about the answer, because if Animation Mentor ever watches this and hears about this and like he compared to our classes, like I'm not trying to really make a comparison here. And even in my mentorship section, like I have a whole thing here that says, if you go to other schools, great. I think I can help. I'm not trying to replace any of the online animation schools because I'm not a school. I'm one person. And even if I grow and expand and do more stuff, it's like you can never learn too much. And I'm specifically making my stuff as high quality, as detailed, as comprehensive, as like helpful as I possibly can for the most affordable price that I can make it, so that it's something that everybody can take advantage of. I can teach as many people as possible. I can give all this information. And through it being these classes, it allows me to go do more stuff and build more resources and tools and hopefully do more to help. So, I don't know. I hope that answered your question. If you would like me to actually talk like specifically, it's like, I'm not going to pull up their website and look at like what they offer. I'll say this. I never like open up other animation schools' websites and like, what are they doing? And then try to like add that to mine. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care what any other school has put together. Like I'm vaguely aware and I kind of remember some of the stuff, but it's like, I'm never pulling from other curriculums and saying, well, what do you cover? Make sure I get that too. Mine is just, here's what I think we should talk about. Here's what I think should be covered. And here's maybe things that I see missing from people who come to me like, hey, like I've never gone to a school, or I go to an online program, or I go to a university, or I'm an international student and I'm self-taught, or I went specifically to this school and I noticed maybe the things that they're missing or the things that they're having problems with or having, questions about that they weren't really confident about having learned properly. From my experience working with people like that, that's where I'm pulling my stuff to say, this class needs to cover these things. So very long answer, but that's how I would compare myself. By not comparing myself, trying to, I will say this, my Maya workshop, my Maya for Animators workshop, I have two now. The Maya for Animators workshop, the big one, and the new one that starts in March, which is a 2-week thing. This one is probably more similar to the Maya workshops that like everybody's got. Like every online school seems to have a Maya workshop to like get you started in animation. This is mine. It's new, starts in March. This one that I've been doing for a couple of years, Maya for Animators, I will confidently say it's the best Maya workshop out there, in my opinion, because nobody covers as much information as I cover. Nobody shows all the stuff I show. It just is what it is. So like that one I don't have a problem comparing because it's different. It's a different class. This one's like a little bit more similar, but like, again, I've never taken the one at Animation Mentor. I don't have access to it. I've never seen it. I have like a vague understanding of what they cover just because like I know what you need to know in Maya, so, But what I do differently. Anyway, long answer, but, you asked. And if you ever are like, is this worth it? Is this good for me? Scroll down, like read the reviews, especially on like my main, like the homepage. There's a bunch of different reviews from like different workshops and stuff. There's not going to be any specific, like the Maya animation reviews. Like I have some reviews down here, but these are not for like this particular class. That's from the other Maya class or the other animation class or the other classes I've done. So, because that's the first time I'm doing that one. Anyways, I hope that answered your question. Do you know of any 3D modeling curriculums? like an animation mentor, but specifically for modeling. I don't. There is a class. There's an online program somewhere that I've heard of that covers modeling, but no, I'm not sure. I know a lot of names of different places that teach modeling classes, but no, I don't have a specific recommendation that I can give you, unfortunately. I would just be guessing or going based on like what I've seen online. I don't actually know any personal experience there. Have you ever considered working on larger scale personal project like a short film? Thanks for all the answers, by the way. It's a fun hangout session. I have, yeah. I've absolutely considered working on larger scale personal projects like short films. I just haven't had the time. I haven't had the time and I'm typically like, all right, well, I've got some free time here, and then I run out of free time. I'm like, okay, like now I got to worry about bills. I got rent to pay, So like, usually when people work on a big scale project like that, they basically have saved up enough that they can say, you know what? I'm just going to work on my thing. I've got 6 months of runway to just like, I can pay my bills for 6 months and just work on my creative project. That's not something that's like, no, I don't have that much free time. So I'd love to. I haven't gotten there yet. When does the class start? Next week or in April? The Maya Animation Essentials class. The Maya Animation Essentials class starts in a week. It starts next Sunday, the 3rd. The 2-week beginner crash course into Maya starts March 3rd. The Intro to Body Mechanics course that you can use Maya, Blender, or Unreal Engine for starts in April. So there are 2 classes enrolling right now, and they are different times from each other. And then the mentorship kicks off in March as well. So that's just like a monthly thing, though. My old teacher told me to focus more on creating acting. Are there any reason to focus more on animal or creature shots? To focus more on creature acting. Are there more to focus on animal or creature shots? I mean, creature shots are really cool and they're a little bit more rare. So if you're trying to get like a VFX job, it's going to be a lot more impressive to have some of that than to not. It's more specialized. It takes more work to do creatures because you have a deeper knowledge of anatomy and mechanics of quadrupeds and multiple limbed creatures, birds, dragons, that kind of stuff. It takes more research and education, and like it takes more time to understand and get that stuff right. And so, it's usually done after you've already gotten a good handle on everything else. So get a good handle on everything else and then go for it. And that's true. Yeah. Randomly just shared Anim School does have a curriculum for 3D modeling. I don't know anything about it, but yes, it does exist. So there are lots out there. I just don't know which ones are like, oh, this one I've heard is really good. I don't know. But that's why it's good that you guys are talking to each other, because some of you may have taken these classes and you can share that information with each other. So I don't know. I don't know what the best class for me is on Intro to Body Mechanics or the other one I'm working in animation for. Wait, hold on. I don't know what is the best class for me. Is Intro to Body Mechanics or the other one? I'm working in animation for 5 years, but I'm not very good in animating. I mean, if you're already like animating actively, I would guess that the Intro to Body Mechanics is probably a better fit. Maya Animation Essentials is like, I'll walk through it. Like Maya Animation Essentials, it is a 2-week course. It's 2 hours a day, 2 days a week for 2 weeks. So it's 2, 4, 6. It's 8. It's 8 hours total across 2 weeks. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. And it's specifically, where's my little section here? Yeah. So in the beginning class, I cover like the Maya UI, how to set things up properly. Like, how you sit in the car for the first time and you got to change the seat, you got to do the mirrors, you got to like make sure everything's like safe to drive. Maya is very much the same way. You want to actually set it up for your workflow. So there's some important stuff to kind of cover with that. And a lot of things that are like, you can skip that step. And then you're going to have things that bother you later where you're like, every time I play Blast, my file like goes somewhere. It disappears. Like you would assume that when you hit save or you save a new version or you play Blast, you would assume that when you're doing these certain things, that wherever you saved your file, that your Play Blast would just go next to it, or that your version 2 you saved would just go next to it. But it doesn't. It goes somewhere else on your computer. Where is it? I'm always having to dig around and find my files. There's a very easy process for that, but you have to be taught that. or you have to find it yourself. But most people don't like search that and like, anyway, so that's something I cover. How to work in 3D in general. So if you're a true beginner, like I cover like literally how to move around in 3D and some different tricks with camera navigation. So even if you're like, well, I know how to do that, I have some specific camera stuff of like how to do things with the camera and working with, you know, 3D viewports that will, things that bother people while they're working on animation, like especially like Animation Mentor students. Like when I was in Animation Mentor, I got all the way through class 6, like the full curriculum, and got to DreamWorks. I was working at DreamWorks, and you know, I was having all these things that are like frustrating me, and I'm like, ugh, I don't understand why this keeps happening in Maya, or like this is always annoying, or whatever. It's like there are so many things that if someone had just told me in class 1 and class 2, like it would have saved me hours of frustration, days, weeks maybe of work that could have just not been so frustrating. So my goal with this class is to tell you those things. Because there's so many things, and so many of them are so easy and so simple and can be taught in like this quick little class to be like, hey, like let me just get all this stuff out of your way so you can just work. So that's a lot of this kind of stuff. So you had to make little basic props, how to set up a shot, like how to properly set up a shot. Not just like bring in your character, start going. Like there's a few things you should do to set up your shot. Let's talk about it. Which controls should you use? Where should you start when posing a character? Like, what are some easy different workflow options as you start working on these shots and you're doing these different basic assignments, like where to begin and what different directions can you go? And then what tools does Maya give you to make things a little bit easier? And you might know about a lot of these, but they go a lot deeper than most people realize. Like arc tracking is the thing everyone knows that you can like have little lines on the screen, but do you know how much you can do with that? Because there's actually quite a bit. How does the graph editor work? And so on. And then how to actually play blast properly in Maya to where it's not like small and pixely and bad. Like I actually, for this specific thing, I actually had a brand new, I got access to a brand new laptop that had never been touched before. I installed Maya for the first time before I installed anything else. And I set up I set Maya up for the first time to start animating. The only reason this is relevant and why I'm telling you this is because almost every tutorial I've ever done on YouTube that shows you how to do these different things and how to play blast and how to make your play blast look like renders. I have videos on like how to play blast to make it look really good. It's all done on my computer. I reset my Maya preferences. I do the tutorial. We move forward. And then inevitably there's some comments where it's like, but I don't have that option. I see what you're doing. I don't have that. Like, what do I do? And I realized me and everybody else who makes tutorials, our Maya is already set up and we show you how to hit the buttons. But the problem is if you have a brand new computer or if you've never done this before, there are a couple of like not Maya related things you have to do to be able to then hit those buttons. Like there are other prerequisites you have to set up on your computer to be able to do these things properly. It's very easy. It's very simple. But if you don't know, how will you ever get it? So I actually made a whole Google Doc guide that I'm going to make for this class that I'm going to put into a little thing for this class. It's like, hey, like you're starting this for the first time. Here's a couple like little things that like no one ever tells you because we all forget that that's what it was like 12 years ago, the first time I opened Maya. Like I haven't thought about it since then. You know what I mean? So anyways, this class is designed for beginners, but even if you're like still a student, there's going to be stuff in here I hope that you find very valuable. If you're more of an advanced student, then like maybe this is not enough for what you need. And that's where my Maya for Animators workshop would come in for you, or just go to the regular classes. Will you do advanced body mechanics courses and even, hold on. Will you do advanced body mechanics courses and even acting and performance classes? Do you plan to do a 12-week course? I will be doing advanced body mechanics. I will be doing performance and acting classes. I do not plan on making them 12 weeks long. The reason that I'm not planning on doing that long of things, let me pause this thing over here. So yes, I am planning on doing advanced body mechanics. In April, we have Intro to Body Mechanics. I plan on doing advanced body mechanics directly following this in May. If you want to jump into that in May, I would still recommend doing the intro class probably because I'm going to be building off what I teach you here. And there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, yeah, remember when we did this one thing? Now let's build on top of it. And you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just joined this one class. And that's fine. Like you won't get too lost or anything. But it always does help to have all the pieces, because then I have to repeat less. So my recommendation is, if you want to take my future classes, I would jump in if you can. I would jump into the early ones so that you're like along for the ride. But yes, I will be doing an advanced body mechanics class after the intro one. So in May, I plan to do advanced body mechanics. But each of my classes is a 4-week thing. I don't plan on doing 12-week classes at this point, because if I were to be doing a 12-week class, that means I'm teaching it for 3 months, which means I have to charge you 3 months worth of my time to be able to do the class, which means I have to make the prices that much more expensive. I'm not trying to make the prices that expensive. I want them to be affordable for you guys. I want them to be something that like I feel good about the cost of and the value of. Could I do a 12-week course and teach you body mechanics for 12 weeks? Yeah, I could, but then I'd have to make it more expensive, because then I have to cover like 3 months of my expenses in, the time I'm going to be spending. So instead, I'm just going to cram as much into body mechanics, as I can. So if you want to learn that, I'm going to get it to you in 4 weeks. And then I can kind of put it away, and we can worry about the next class. And so, anyway, that's transparently, like, that's why I'm not doing 12-week courses, is because I'm trying to keep the costs low so more people can take these classes. And also because, I'm trying to offer something different than what's already out there. Oh, and yes, I will also be doing acting and performance classes as well, and they'll fall under the same category. They're going to be 4 weeks long. What are some emerging trends or technologies in the animation industry that aspiring animators should be aware of? Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine's probably the big one, which I will have classes on. I completed the first 2 semesters at Anim School, but I did enjoy it. I found it really hard. I think I realized that animation could be a fun hobby as a career. Could be a fun hobby, but as a career, I'll probably never get there. That's totally fine. I completed the first. Animation is definitely tricky, and it can be easier with the right instruction or with the right group of people around you. It can be a lot easier with that in place. But for some people, it's never going to be easy for some people, and it might not be a career for everybody. You might pick a different area within 3D. You might not do 3D at all and just do it as a hobby. Like, that's totally fine. Totally valid. But it's cool that you're exploring it and that you're being self-aware enough to be like, I don't know if I want to do that forever, because you have to want to spend the time. It's very tedious at times. Can you offer Afterpay for this course? For these ones, for the body mechanics and Maya Essentials, I don't think I can do that for Maya Essentials, but for body mechanics, like, maybe. I have to go see. I maybe can add. I have the option to hit the button to like turn on the whole Klarna thing, but I don't know how that works, and I don't know if it's like. I don't know how that works. I'll consider it, but I have to do some research to see like what that means to have that on there. I'll take a look. I know it's been a while for you, but for me, making progress, getting used to all the things that are relevant feels super overwhelming. Is that normal? How do you feel about getting into animation at first? Making progress, getting used to all the things that are relevant feels super overwhelming. Oh yeah, I would say that's normal. Some people struggle with it more than others. Like, whatever information you have going into animation is going to make a difference. So, if you've never touched 3D before, or if you've never done graphic software before, or if you've never, I feel like the fundamentals of animation, things like ball bounces and pendulums and stuff like that, those came more naturally to me than some of my classmates at the time, because I was really into physics in high school. I really loved physics, and that part of animation is all physics. There's a little bit of extra appeal and exaggeration and like kind of the creative cartoony stuff that we layer on top for animation and entertainment value, but like a bouncing ball is majority physics, which I liked. And so it was easier for me to pick that up. But because my brain was a little bit more technical, when it came to cartoony shots and posing and having like dynamic poses and that kind of stuff, I struggled a bit more with that. So, you know, in that way, making progress and getting used to everything you need for animation, like, yeah, it can be super overwhelming. It can be rough. But that is a normal experience. But yeah, it's normal to feel overwhelmed, making progress, getting used to the new stuff. But it can be it can be helpful. One thing you could do is you could break anything that you're learning, everything you're trying to get in there, like break it down into smaller, more manageable parts and just focus on one thing at a time. Try not to worry too much about all the things you're trying to keep track of, and keep like physical lists if you want, like put post-it notes of things that you're having a hard time like really grasping, and like have reminders around where you're working. You know, it's a gradual process. It's going to take things time, so take it one step. I don't know if you've heard this from other people already, but instructors at online animation schools often reference your videos as extra materials to learn from. That's cool. I'm going to read that again because I feel like I want people to hear that. I don't know if you've heard this from other people already, but instructors at online animation schools often reference your videos as extra materials to learn from. That's super cool. I'm aware of a few people who do that because like when I run into people at different events, I'm like, oh, hey, I always tell my students to watch your videos. I'm like, thank you. I actually do know even a few schools, like college, like university programs. Let me put it this way. I know of a few university programs and schools, some of which cost like tens of thousands of dollars at least. In fact, hang on, I'm going to find out how much one of them costs. Oh, gosh, that's so much money. Okay, no, that's not it. It's a different one in the same city. Oh, it's even worse. Oh. Okay, I'll put it this way. I know this happens at different schools, but I know one school in particular where the tuition, is that for each course? Oh my God, that's so much money. Oh my God, that's each course. Is that right? That can't be right. No, hang on a second. I want to answer this question, but I want to make sure that my information is correct. Oh my gosh, yeah. The tuition fee for each course may amount to approximately $19,298 US. $20,000 per class. Okay, jeez. Oh my God, and that's just per class, not even per year. All right, well anyway, if that is to be believed, then I'm gonna put it this way. Apparently, the school I know a certain school, which I shall not name, which I actually really like their program. Like I like the school, I like what they do. I just don't like the price. Apparently they charge $20,000 US per class, and I happen to know that in their animation program, their like character animation performance, like acting classes, I know at least 3 of like the units, which means like 3 different weeks of education. You get to class, you sit down, and they put on my video. And they say, all right, today we're going to learn about FK and IK. And they pop on my video. And they teach it that way. And then say, any question? And then they'll talk about it. But I am the lecture. My videos are the lecture for some of their class materials. And you pay $20,000 for that per class. Oh my God. Anyway. Or, just sign up for my... Sorry about the sirens. Or, sign up for my $400 class and get the same information directly from me and with recordings. So, and then watch my video for free anyways. Sheesh. Let's see. My current full-time job is over in 2 months-ish, and I want to take my essentials later since I'll be very busy. Do you think will you open the beginner's course later too in June or July? That's a really good question. I'm not sure. This one, I'm not sure if I'll be doing this one again in June or July, but I will say, if you are busy right now, it's a really good question. I put it this way. What I usually strive to do is I try to do these classes live, and they are what they are. And then when they're finished, like when I'm done with them, I wrap them up and make them pretty, and then I put them back on my website as like an online course you can buy later, and you can like watch the recorded version of the class, and it's just an online course. Because that's like what the Maya workshop was. The Maya for Animators workshop was an almost 30-hour live class that every day I would do a session live on Zoom, and then I would do a separate session and record it clean without the Zoom call. That way, everybody who was in it got to take the class live, and then when they go back to rewatch it, they rewatch like a clean recorded version of it. And then if you went to it now, like I'm not teaching that class anymore. Like it's too much time. I don't have time for it. And I'm also like, I'm kind of tired of teaching it because I've taught it several times. So I'm doing new classes now. This is how I'm able to do other classes now, is I make this a class that you can go and you can pick it up. You can go buy the class and you can watch it at your own pace. And I add a bunch of extra stuff after the official class is done too. And so then that just lives there. And sometimes it ends up being like $100 more to buy the class after the fact because of all the stuff I add and all the extra time it takes to edit the videos and stuff. But it just lives on the website. And so what I would say is I'm not currently planning on doing another Maya Animation Essentials class right now. Like I'm doing it at the moment because I have time in March and I want to do it. I don't know if I'll have time again over the summer. If I do, great. If I don't have time to redo it and it doesn't happen again, and this is the only one that happens, ideally, this will pop back up on my website as like something you can buy later, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing that like soon or not. Because these classes are currently here. The Maya one is already there. I did other classes last summer that I meant to turn into digital classes. I just didn't have time to do them, so you can't currently get them. If you didn't take them, you can't currently get them. So anybody who knew they wanted to take a class, but they weren't going to be taking it now, like you could get this class now and you'll still have the recording for when you have time. That's one option if you're okay with just the recorded version. Because I don't know if I'm going to have time to do another live version over the summer. So it's like I don't have an answer for you, but that's like my whole process on like how I would think about it is like if you're really stuck on having the live version and you can't do it now, no worries. You could hold out and wait till the summer and see what happens. I don't know. I really don't know. But if you're worried that you won't have access to the information if I don't do it over the summer, and if I don't have time to make it a digital version, then it might be worth just grabbing it and just keeping the recording until you're ready to watch it. So up to you. And honestly, like if you decide to wait and then I don't end up making it a digital version and you get to that time where you're free from your job and you're like, I really wanted to learn it, like DM me, send me a message, remind me like, hey, we talked in February, remember in the live stream? Like that was me. Can I get access? And like I will make a thing so that you can like buy the version of the thing. We'll figure it out. So I'll go back to this page. Is this an entry level course or high level? Maya Animation Essentials is entry level. Body Mechanics, you can be at kind of any level. I would recommend, if you're at one of these levels, it's good for you. Beginning, student, and junior. Those are the levels I'd recommend for the Body Mechanics class. Pretty much everybody should be able to benefit from that one. I'll put it this way. If you don't already have a job that you're really happy with in animation, you will benefit from this. But if you're already working at Disney, if you're already working at Sony, if you're already working at a studio where you're like, I'm chilling, like I'm good, I've got Body Mechanics stuff and I'm doing shots and I'm, like if you're already doing those jobs, then like you might not need this. If you feel like Body Mechanics, even at that point, is still holding you back for some reason, like maybe you missed something and now your Body Mechanics are like, you're really having a hard time getting the Body Mechanics work done. Maybe it's a smaller studio, like then you might still want to take this, but like, someone who's working at any major studio, like they're not going to need this. But if you're still trying to get that job and break into the industry, then like this will probably help you. Yeah. And this is level 1. Like the advanced one will come as well. So they work well together. Wait. I'm conflicted about my future. If I go to college and I get the paper, I fear of not getting a job in my favorite field. Help. My friends never get into animation or gaming. Well, Kevin, I would tell you I mean, it's your life, but like, this is my opinion. Get a second opinion, talk to other people, see what you really think about this. But my opinion is this. To be an animator or to work in this industry, you don't need a degree. Unless you are an international artist trying to get a job in another country where a visa might be something you need and therefore a degree might help you get a visa. Otherwise, degrees don't really mean much in our industry. So go where your budget allows you to get the best education for what you want to do. That's what I would say. Academy of Art University. Academy of Art University, about 4,000 per class. Is about 3 months. So what? Academy of Art University, about 4,000 per class of 3 months. Okay. I did the math backwards in my head. Whew. Still, 4,000 a class of 3 months long. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. I've heard stories, so I mean, it's up to you whether you think it's worth it. Your call. Crazy. I previously watched the video in which I explained transferring. I previously watched the video in which you explained transferring animation from Maya to Blender via Alembic Cache, but at the present time can do the USD the same thing, which is better. Oh, yeah. I actually cover that workflow in the Maya for Animators Workshop. USD, hands down. If you're animating in Maya and you're trying to send your stuff to Blender and you want to render it in Blender or something, or work with effects or something in Blender, I will die on that sword. Like, export to USD animation before you try going to Alembic animation. It is such a lighter file type, so much faster, and so much less just like heavy and dense and like horrible to work with. Alembic files are dense. They're great files, but man, they're a pain to work with. And USD is just so much easier to work with. And it's just a better, newer version of it for most purposes for that kind of work. So there's going to be some things that USD can't do, but like in that context, if you're trying to you're animating in Maya and you're trying to send that to somewhere else and you're just trying to send your animation elsewhere, you have to hit a few extra checkboxes in either case to make sure like things all export properly. But yeah, USD over Alembic every time, 100%. Oh gosh, Art Institute in Phoenix was $5,000 a semester. See, when I hear stuff like that, when I hear it's like it's $5,000 a semester, people are paying like $5,000 a semester, $20,000 a semester. It's like, if anybody wants to pay me $20,000 for a 3-month period, I will teach you everything I know. I will go with you to the studio job interview, and I'll like wait outside the gates and like cheer you on. Like, God, for that cost of tuition, like these schools should be bending over backwards to do everything they can for you. I mean, if like, 10 to 15 of you want to like pool together and, whatever these colleges are charging, you want to just say, hey, let's just take that and let's all give it to Sir Wade. Let's all get together. Let's get a class of people. Let's get a couple people. Let's all just give our tuition money to Sir Wade for like a semester or two, just like 1 year. Let's just see how it goes. I will guarantee you, I will teach the heck out of you. I will teach you so much more than the schools would have gotten with a smile on my face. And then you'll be like, okay, that was really worth it. That was great, right? Like we just like skipped like 3 or 4 years of stuff and we paid a fraction of the price. Cool. Like if anyone wants to do that, I got you. Because geez, college is expensive. And if you're like, no thanks, well, that's cool. I have classes. They're not that expensive, relatively. All right. Well, I think, let me see, where is my The live streaming dashboard. There you are. I think from here, if you have any last questions, now's the time. Because I've been live for about a little over 2 hours. It's usually about how long I go live for. And I've got to film a video or two today. And I got to jump back into like some other work stuff. Get back to making examples for these classes. So yeah, I guess just last things from me are, keep an eye on the website if you're interested in classes. Like I said, let me pull it up here. In March, so in about a week, next weekend, a week from tomorrow, the Maya Animation Essentials class will begin. 2-week crash course, beginner class in Maya. If Maya is not the tool you want to use, if you want to learn in Blender or Unreal Engine, I have classes for both of those coming very soon. I hope to announce my Blender stuff in April. I hope to announce my Unreal stuff in March. So you'll hear about that very soon. And I have quite a few different Unreal Engine things. In April, we have Intro to Body Mechanics. And that you have some time to sign up for that. If you want to secure a spot and make sure that you get in, do it sooner than later. But it doesn't start until April, so you've got a little bit of time to think about it. And you are welcome to use Maya, Blender, Unreal Engine. Right now, 5.3 is what's released, but by the time we get to April, 5.4 will be released in Unreal, and I will be updating because I use 5.3, we'll be switching everything to 5.4 at that point. So if you want to use a different tool, if you are like, I already know my animation body mechanics stuff, I'm waiting for the advanced class, but you want to learn Unreal Engine, maybe download Unreal Engine and do the class in UE 5.4 and just kind of, it's still animation, but learn it in a different tool. Practice it. So use whatever tool you want. This starts in April. It's 4 weeks. It's 8 classes. These are the dates. These are the times. It's all on Zoom. You get the recordings and so on. Also in March, the mentor program starts. So if you're interested in getting some mentorship or being a part of the mentorship and learning from other people's work and seeing the different demos and examples and stuff we're going to be doing, I open up people's files. We dive into the graph editor, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in that, jump in, try it out. And after that, in the months following, we will be doing an advanced body mechanics class. And I won't get too specific about it, but I have another 3 specific animation classes planned that go deeper into acting and performance and things like that. So that'll be happening. And then also Unreal Engine classes are to be announced in March. So yes, keep an eye out for new videos. Hopefully starting this coming week, I should be posting a couple of videos finally. And if anybody's going to GDC or GTC, I will be going to both. They're like at the same time. One's in San Francisco, one's in San Jose, which are very close to each other if you don't know. Northern California. And they're like the same week. So I'll be kind of going back and forth between GDC and GTC, but I'll be around. So if anyone else is there, maybe I'll see you. Anyways, I'll hit these last questions and we'll wrap it up. Do you have an ArtStation? I do. If you just type in Sir Wade on ArtStation, you should find me. There's not very many people with my name. I look forward to the mentor program. I'm currently at Space Station Animation, do TV animation, and want to move into feature. Do you ever post studios? So there's like a little emoji thing in the way of some of the words. Studios that are hiring that you're aware of. I do, yeah. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I typically will repost job opportunities that I see. I post that kind of stuff on LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll repost stuff on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter very often anymore. And I share that kind of stuff on Discord occasionally, but I don't use Discord all that often. I guess I share it more. If you're in the mentorship, you'll hear about it for sure. Because everyone in the mentorship, I tell them the most because that's the group I'm mostly engaged with on Discord. So I've got some behind the scenes, like mentorship only channels on Discord that if you join that, then you'll be getting info on that. But totally. But yeah, Terrence, happy to help you how I can. Let's get you into feature. Let's 100% get you into feature. I will do what I can. Are you not going to tell us what the twist is? Oh, am I going to tell you what the twist is? I didn't get very many questions. I got some. Okay, I did get some questions. You guys did help me out there. I was hoping for some more. I don't know if I have enough. Do you want to know the twist? Who is still here that knows what I'm talking about when I'm like, the twist, there's the twist. Like, how many people are actually still in the room who are like, yeah, no, I was here for that. What was the twist? Because I almost anticipate that most people like cycled in and out. So how many people are actually still here who want to know what the twist is? Maybe I'll tell you. Okay, a couple of you. All right, well, I'll tell you the twist. It's at the very end of the video. It's fine. I'm not revealing too much. I had a funny idea. Well, my wife actually helped with the idea. She had most of the idea. Here, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna prolong this another 15 minutes. I'm gonna loop you in. I'm gonna let you in on the joke, and then we'll end it after that. You can be a part of it because maybe we'll get some funny prompts from what's about to happen. So yes, some of you guessed that I was answering some of the questions. I mean, most of the questions in this stream I'm just answering. But when I was like over here kind of reading a little bit, yes, I was using AI to help answer the questions, but I'm not using ChatGPT. I'm not using some online language model that's just like searching and scraping the internet for answers. I'm specifically using my own videos as the data set to answer your questions with Chat with RTX. So this is, I'll just show you this. So this is NVIDIA's new, this is the thing from NVIDIA. Basically, you download, so it's kind of like ChatGPT, and then it's a large language model. Like you talk to it, and it summarizes and does languagey things. That's the interface, and you can use these Mistral or Llama 2. I'm using Mistral because I think that's the bigger, better one from what I know. And you can point it at like a folder on your computer or YouTube URLs or whatever, which is what I did. I pointed it at my YouTube playlist of all videos and told it, load up to 155 of my videos. And it downloads the transcripts for all of my videos. And that's the data that it goes through. So whatever it answers, all the questions that I get asked, it doesn't like go through the internet trying to find like articles and stuff. It just goes through my content and what it has from my videos to give its answers. So here, try it with me. Give me another animation question. And also I don't actually caption all of my videos properly. So like sometimes things are wrong. So like at one point it was like the trading department, trading with a D instead of training with an N. So I was using AI to answer your questions, but it was basically just having AI summarize my own videos and the advice I give in my videos. And what's cool about it is like you ask it the question, it'll give you the answer, and then it'll tell you where it got the answer. So it's like, oh, we pulled that from this video. So you can see all the different videos of mine over the years that it was pulling my answers from. So here, let me do this. So let me see what else you had. I thought you were answering questions, but intentionally giving a piece of information. No, so I didn't want to mislead anybody. I didn't want to like give you bad information. So like at one point, one of the questions somebody asked, like, how did you get started in the industry? And I put in like, how did the speaker get started? And it actually pulled from one of my animation interviews. And it said the speaker, Angela Lupido, it got her name wrong. That's not how you spell it. Got into the industry by working her way up from within DreamWorks Animation. She's been with the company 13 years. She's the department manager for the story department and the art department. She started out in a lower position and worked her way up, demonstrating blah, 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 blah. Like that's true. That's hers. That's from her interview. But that's not what you guys asked. You asked about me. So then I said, how did Sir Wade get into the industry? And it's funny because it got it wrong. It said, Sir Wade got into the industry by being hired as an animator at DreamWorks. He started out as a 2D animator and has become a freelance director. He was hired at DreamWorks around 6 years ago and left about 4. Some of that is correct. Some of that is incorrect. But like I was not hired as an animator and I was not a 2D animator. So that's where I was like, hang on. So that I had to kind of edit as we went. But it's cool because it's like when it gets it right, it's way faster than going through my videos. So like, what is the average salary of an animator? Let's see if I've ever talked about it. The average median salary for an animator is usually around $60,000 to $65,000 US online. However, it's important to note that this is an estimate and the actual salary can vary depending on factors such as experience, location, and specific job requirements. That piece of information, it pulled based on whatever was shared in this interview with Simon Otto, who was the head of character animation on all 3 How to Train Your Dragon movies at DreamWorks when I interviewed him at his house. If I click on that video, it'll pull up the link to that video, and you can watch the interview. But somewhere in the transcript, we talk about salary, and so that's the information it pulls. Oops, oh no, come back. Oh, dang it, I just hit the button, so now I gotta do this again. Here, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go back to my channel. I'll go to my playlists. Oh, actually, I don't know what I have in here. I think these are all public playlists, but like, what if I have anything strange? No, I think it's all just normal stuff. Where's my all videos? Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right, so my all videos is there. I'll pop that in here, and I'll say you can download 155 videos, because I think I have 152 public videos on my channel. So it'll take a second, and it's going to take a minute here, because 155 videos, and some of those videos are like an hour and a half long. So I'll give it a second. But let me go ahead and grab this. So, oh yeah, there's the progress bar. So we'll stall for a second, because I stupidly left this page and clicked the link, and it left the session. But the thing about this, so I'm going to be doing a video on this, because I think this is really interesting. Like, people ask a lot of questions about AI, and I think there's interesting things about AI, right? Like, yeah, let me go full screen while we're waiting for that. It's like, people ask a lot of questions about AI. There's a lot of like weird stuff that people are doing with AI in terms of like, scraping artists' work and generating stuff based on other artists' styles. Like, there's all kinds of misuse of AI tools. But the overall idea of having the computer automate things that are kind of dumb and letting us be creative, like, I think there is some really cool aspects of AI when used properly and when set up intentionally. And so, anyways, the thing about Chat with RTX that, I found interesting when I got to see it at CES recently, the whole point of this is it runs on my GPU locally. Like, I downloaded this setup onto my computer, and it runs on my GPU. It never touches the internet except for the fact that it's downloading YouTube transcripts for information. But once I have that, I have that. It doesn't ever, it doesn't send my questions and prompts to some server and collect the data. It doesn't pull stuff from random sites on the internet and just give me whatever information it thinks is correct. It doesn't always get it 100% of the time, but what it is pulling from is what I tell it to look at. So if I give it a folder of medical record information or something, that's what they tell on the website. You could put your medical stuff in there. The point is, it's not uploading that data anywhere. It's just, you have a folder of your own personal notes or logs or meeting recordings for some project that you're working on that you can't upload to some site and have stuff go through and pull data from and, scrape for other people's uses. It's you just want to be able to say, I've got 3,000 pages of stuff that I can't upload, and I don't want to dig through it. What was the name of the one thing? How do I do the thing? Can you give me the 5 steps I was supposed to do to make this happen? And it will just go through what you tell it to go through and then give you the answers based on that, which I think is cool. I think that's a really cool way to do it. So it's just a local thing that runs, and so it's taking a long time because I give it a lot of videos. I should have maybe limited the data set to not all of my videos. I did this before. The other day I was testing it, and I just gave it a couple small playlists. I was like, hey, here's my acting playlist. Here's my body mechanics playlist. And it took 15 seconds. But it's taking a minute here because I'm giving it a lot of videos. So anyway, it's pretty cool. Especially, actually, it's really cool for my interview series. So if you haven't watched all of the interviews I have on my channel, check this out. If you guys haven't been watching me for forever, actually, if you go to my home thing, it's somewhere on here, I have an animation industry interview series where I've done a whole bunch of interviews, and collectively, 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 6, 6.5, 7, 8, 8, about 9. Yeah, 9 to 10 hours of interview content, which, by the way, if you want something to binge, here you go. But if you just want like 9 to 10 hours worth of content here, searchable and accessible, like you just pop the playlist URL in there, and then you can, or just make your own playlist, you know, like you can make your own playlist of your favorite YouTube stuff. So if you have like me and JD and Harvey Newman, and you have all these other YouTube creators that you really like their tutorials and their stuff, like that's one thing too. Like you could feed in my Maya tutorials and, you know, the stuff I do for Unreal Engine. You could feed in stuff from, I don't know, Punisher or William Fauché. Like you can take all these different YouTube creators who give you tutorials and stuff, and assuming that the transcripts actually are accurate to what we're saying, just make your own playlist of your favorite creators, pop it in here, and then when you're like, what was the hotkey for this thing? And as long as it's in the transcript, it'll pull it up here. Like you don't have to go find the video, find the part of the video, like scrub to the time code and then like listen. You could just like search our videos. It's like technically, yeah, like this hurts our watch time. You're not like watching our videos as often or something, but like, you know, it's a cool tool. It's interesting. And the whole point of this is that like, it's just something they just made, and hopefully people will like integrate this in interesting ways to make other tools that are even more useful. But like at the moment, like it's still just cool. So I'm using it to kind of dig through my videos really quickly, you know, so I don't have to go back and watch hours of my own content. I really wish I could just feed all my Twitch stuff, like all those many hours of like Twitch content. I wish I could, you know, push all that in there, but I didn't have captions for those. It's almost done. It's almost done if you want to try it with me. But in the meantime, let me keep this open. It's more colorful. Let me see what your questions here. Would there be issues with download limit with the YouTube API? Not that I can tell. I mean, I'm downloading a lot of videos, transcripts right now, and it seems to be working just fine. It's almost there. What can I use animation layers for? I'm going to push that in as the first question as soon as it pops up. It's almost there. Come on, come on. Yeah. So if you have any like animation questions you want to feed in with me really quick, like I kind of want to see how it handles your guys' questions. So if you have questions about anything animation workflow, how to tackle stuff, like, you know, throw the questions in the chat and I'm just going to pop them in here, and it's just going to search my videos. And it's going to see if I've ever done a video on that topic, and it'll give you the answer and it'll summarize it. But it'll only do one video at a time. It won't summarize from multiple videos. So it's done. It's ready. What can I use animation layers for? Let's see what it says. Animation layers can be used for various purposes in animation, including layering animation, to separate different parts of an animation into individual layers, for organizing complex animations and making them easier to manage, to compartmentalize the work by working on different parts without being distracted by the rest of the body. Useful for animations with many rotations like arms, efficient use of space. Interesting. It's got, some of it's kind of weird because it's like not getting my question super great, but some of it defines things. Sketch blocking. Sketch blocking is like a workflow. I don't know why it's showing these different things. I found that some of the answers in these break apart by the end. It's like, I don't love, no, not again. I hit the button. I clicked it directly and it kicked out my playlist. You know what? Here, I'm just gonna feed it the interviews. That was, we waited all that time, and I hit the stupid button. Oh. Failure. That's okay. Now this won't take very long because I'm just feeding in 14 videos instead of 155 of them. Dang it. I wish, hypothetically, actually, presumably, It's already downloaded the transcripts. That lives on my computer somewhere. Transcripts. Nope. Transcripts. Chat with RTX. I'm just gonna check really quick in like the local folder for it. Like, is there any chance I'd like find? I don't know where it saves. I don't know where it saves to. If I knew what the folder was, I could actually just point it back at the folder and I wouldn't have to do this process again. Oh well. Bummer. Anyway, let me see what else you guys were asking. Let that do its thing. Do you teach the same things Anim School, I Animate, and Animation Mentor teach in your Patreon, or is it different? I would say it's different. I mean, I can cover those topics, right? Like anything that you want to learn, like I'm going to cover it, you know? So if you have something that you were learning there or that you meant to learn there or you can't access it or something, like, hey, like tell me about this topic that you know they happen to cover. It's like, well, I'll teach you about the topic and there's going to be some overlap. But my stuff's not like based on their stuff. It's my own curriculum. So it's different, but we all talk about the same things. I hope that answers your question. How to solve gimbal lock. Yeah. I don't know if I have that in an interview. How do I solve gimbal lock? Let's see if any of the interviews talk about it. Oh, yeah. Hold on. What playlist did I give it? What did I give it? Oh, it's accessing. Either I gave it the wrong YouTube URL or it's just got all the stuff in the right folder and it can search all my videos now. I don't know. One of the two. Either way, that's the video. So perfect. Let's see what it says. How do I solve gimbal lock? Gimbal lock is a common issue in 3D animation where the rotation of one object causes another object to rotate in a way it's not intended. Let's see. One of the easiest fixes is to use the curved Euler filter in the graph editor. That's true. This can help to correct the interpolation. That's good. Another approach is to check your arm rotations and figure out a rotation order that will work for you. This can be done using the selection attribute space switcher, which can help you determine the best rotation. That's great advice. It's also important to be aware of the 3-axis gimbal lock that can happen in 3D. That's basically what we're talking about. That's trying to tell you to look at gimbal mode, the rotation mode in Maya. But it's like it's on the right track. It's a common issue, difficult to avoid entirely, but being aware of it and taking steps to mitigate it. Yeah. I mean, at the very least, it did give 2 good pieces of information, and it gives you the video that knows how to answer the question. So, hey, it tells you what video and gives you the first 2 things to check. I'll take it. What else? Yeah, that was Everything Search. I love Everything Search. It's the best thing ever. Anybody else have any other animation questions? We can run through my videos really quick. So like, list 5 time management tips. It'll pull. Use a calendar to keep track of deadlines and appointments. Break down large tasks into smaller, manageable ones, and keep a task list to help you stay on track. Prioritize tasks based on their urgency and importance. Set realistic goals and deadlines for yourself, and take breaks and make time for self-care to avoid burnout. Those are all good tips. I happen to know that this time management for artists video talks about a post-it note workflow, so I'm going to try that. Explain the time management. Explain the post-it note strategy for time management. Like I remember that's in there. Let's see what it says. Yeah, I could probably prompt it to give me a different version of the answer, but yeah, it talks a little bit more information. Can you ask it what's the best way to make an animation on a laptop with simple processing power? Let's try it. Let's see if I've ever talked about that. What's the best way to make an animation? Make an animation on a laptop with low processing power. Optimize the computer's performance by reducing the amount of geometry in the scene, going to a lower resolution or proxy version of the work, or of your rig, and using the other tips and tricks from the video, presumably, to speed up the computer. If the computer is still not performing well, it may be time to upgrade to a more powerful machine. And that came from some 2-hour Q&A I did many years ago. That's good advice. How to make an animation on a laptop with low processing power, reduce the complexity of the scene, go to the proxy version of the rig, or upgrade. Yeah, that's what I would say too. Did you ever read the Animator Survival Kit, and what was your best takeaway from it? I didn't, actually. I didn't own it. I bought it like a year ago because I'm going to be making a video talking about some of the stuff in it that I disagree with some very specific things. But no, I've actually never read the full book because I never had it when I was learning, and I just haven't had the time since I've owned it in the last year to actually read it. So no, I don't have any takeaways to give you because I didn't read it. What animation books should I get? Or should I read? Let's see what I've given. Here we go. Yeah, look at that. It came from a gift ideas video I did in 2017. The Illusion of Life, Drawn to Life, Simplified Drawing for Planning Animation, Character Animation Crash Course, 3D World Magazine, Acting for Animators, Timing for Animation, art books of various movies and concept things. Read the shirts, read maquettes, read plushies. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, well, that summarized the books that I talked about in 2017. What else we got? Anybody else got any other questions? I can run through it. Last chance. We'll wrap up the stream otherwise. What's the difference blocking versus splining? There are two different stages in the animation process. Blocking is the initial stage where the animator creates a rough version of the animation by placing keyframes or poses. The goal of blocking is to establish the timing, composition, and movement of the characters in the scene. It is a high-level overview of the animation and helps the animator to plan and organize the animation. Splining, on the other hand, is the process of refining the animation by adding more detail and smoothing out the movement. It involves creating immediate keyframes or poses between the animation, the keyframes created during blocking. The goal of splining is to create a more fluid and natural-looking animation. In summary, blocking is the initial stage with a rough version of the animation, and splining is the process of refining the animation by adding more detail and smoothing out the movement. That is an excellent summary of blinding versus splining, or blocking versus splining. And the fact that we're getting a good answer from AI of what it is because it's just pulling from my videos. It is coming from interviews with people who know what they're talking about. So that's pretty great. That's probably the best blocking versus splining explanation I've ever seen from like a text prompt. Well done. So hey, if anybody like wants to download Chat with RTX, if you've got the graphics card for it, you could literally do this right now if you wanted to. And if not, you know, this technology is going to get built into other things. They just released this, so this will eventually become useful to people later on. Anyway, when people ask me like what I think of AI and if I think it's useful, this is the kind of thing I get excited about because like this was cool. Like imagine having my whole library of videos and other animators' content that, you know, that you've watched or you've seen it or you have access to it. And it's like, there's a lot of information there. And you have questions like, if you don't have access to somebody to ask those questions to, this is pretty much the next best thing. You can search through a library of somebody's content that they've made for that purpose. And it saves you a lot of time if you're like, wait, how do I change the background color in Maya? How do I change the viewport background color in Maya? I don't know if my transcripts, my video captions are accurate enough to do this, but let's find out. Right-click the background of the viewport and select background color. In the set background color dialog box, you can create a color from the color background extra hex code. It's talking about Maya and Blender. I don't think that's Maya's. That does not seem accurate to me. You can't right-click on the background of the viewport and do that. I think that's talking about Blender. Let's see. What is the hotkey for changing the Maya background color. Yeah, it's pulling from the blend. I guess I didn't, maybe it's not in my video or it's not in the transcript because it's looking for Blender stuff. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You can change the background color in Maya by going to Window, Settings, Preferences, Colors. Then you can go to the background color. That is the right path. That is the way to do it. It's just setting it in a weird way. Okay, okay. It's something interesting. Interesting. What about something more useful? How do we what? How do I list 10 tips for shooting better video reference? Keep the angle as what you're going to be animating in your video reference. Capture different perspectives of different views of the same action to see all the different aspects and angles of the action. Use a tripod or have someone hold it to ensure it's approximately the same height and same angle as what you have in your shot. Use mirrors to capture other angles with only one camera. Keep in mind what direction things are happening on and review the footage after every take to ensure continuity. I remember that. Use intention and acting to convey the body mechanics of the action being captured. Start with your best work until your best shot took the audience. That's a demo reel tip. Different camera angles. It's the same. Use a slow motion camera to capture the action in more detail. Yeah, that's pretty good. Considering I asked for 10 things and it went to a video that only has 9 tips, it's pretty decent. It's basically a video transcript search engine. I'm currently using it as that, but it can do more in theory. Like it's the whole like large language model thing. So like, I don't know, like you could tell it to, what else could you do? It's just using my videos as the data set. So it's using my videos as where it gets its information. So like, I don't know, what's something that's not video specific? I don't know. How to avoid burnout. I get that question a lot. How to avoid burnout. So it's basically going to do the thing where it's like, it's going to try and tell you like, oh, burnout's a common problem and blah, 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 blah. But it's going to base its information off my videos. Interesting. Yeah, so it's like it's not quite a search tool in that case, but it's more like it's trying to answer the question based on the information I've fed it. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, for me, like, I'm going to be actively using this as a way to like, you know, if I'm putting together presentations and stuff from my videos, I have 150 something videos like this that it's like, and someone asked me like, hey, like, what are some tips you have on this that you've shared previously? It's like, oh gosh, like I don't remember all the stuff in all my videos. I don't want to go back and watch them all. Like this is a way for me to kind of consolidate information pretty quickly, or at least have it tell me what videos to click on so I don't have to go searching. What was that video again? I've made so many, you know? I dropped animation a long time ago, but I wanted to try to get back into it. But I also wanted to do game design. What's the best software to start doing to get back into it? I would say Unreal Engine. If you're trying to do game design and animation, jump into Unreal Engine because Unreal Engine is game design. It's a game engine. That's the whole thing. And also you can animate natively in it now. And so I have a class coming soon on Unreal Engine for animation. So if you're interested, join the waitlist. But at the very least, if you wanted, I don't know if you were asking this because of my classes or not, or just in general, but like if you jump into my intro to body mechanics class, you can use Unreal Engine for this class. And I'll be supporting that. But just in general, like if you're just trying to get back into things, I say Unreal Engine. Anyway, so you guys asked what the twist was. That was the twist. It was that I wanted to see how many of your questions could be answered with my old videos. Because that was the whole thing, is like, if it was successful, you'd be getting the answers from me, but you'd get the answers from past me, you know, where I've already shared them if you just haven't seen that video. So I just wanted to see if it would work. Anyways, I think we'll wrap it up here. We're going on 3 hours of this stream, and I want dinner. So thanks for being here, everybody. Any final questions about the classes? Let's answer those. Are your intro classes scaled to everyone's level? Kind of. I mean, the essentials class is a beginner level class. But if you are a student animator, even if you're not like a beginner, but you're just like, you're still a student, you'll almost definitely learn something that you're like, oh, I did not know that. That's very helpful. But it's designed as a beginner class that anybody can benefit from, and so on. So like, if you look at these pages and you're like, these seem like interesting things, like I want to learn like this stuff here. It's like, this is so actually I'll go through this. This is my Intro to Body Mechanics class. It is 4 weeks long. It starts in April. These are the dates, these are the times. I actually haven't gone through this with you yet on this live stream, but here's the overview of the class. Here's like some of the things I'm covering in the presentations. Mechanics in the 12 principles, specifically weight, the core of character locomotion. We're going to cover weight. We're going to cover balance, motivation, and flow, and like what I think is important in animating these things to create convincing weight and mechanics within, 12 principle stuff. So it's not like I'm like, the first principle is squash and stretch. Like I covered that in my basics class, but let's go deeper. Let's talk about mechanics within that stuff. How to use video reference and when not to. How to handle stylization versus realism, how to analyze live action footage for better posing, for better mechanics, workflows for blocking your shots, different methods for examining the motion in the workflow and being self-critical of your work, timing and spacing explained, because I think those are some really confusing things that don't get explained very well in most schools. For assignments, I've got a variety of things here. I'll just scroll down. We've got different types of posing exercises that are different than the other schools. I've had some very kind animation people from the industry. One animation supervisor in particular who's given me a lot of feedback and stuff that he wishes the schools did differently and things that he would recommend to students based on his experience in the industry. And so my assignments factor in a lot of that kind of feedback from artists and teachers who are artists who are supervising artists who also teach, who have notes about how things should be taught. I'm factoring those kinds of things in. Walks and run cycles, live action footage stuff we're going to be doing in class as assignments, weight and timing exercises. So these are some of the things that we're doing in this class, and then we'll get more advanced in the following class, but it's all going to build on these types of things. So if this sounds interesting to you, this is the Intro to Body Mechanics class. And again, you can do this class in Maya, Blender, Unreal Engine, like feel free. And as far as like rigs, I will have recommendations for what rigs to use and download. Just like with my mentorship, different levels will benefit. Works really well with schools, or if you don't go to school, it's fine too. You got lots of stuff, 4 hours a week of stuff. It's all recorded. You get feedback. There's Discord channels, recordings. You get access to Anibot through the mentorship, not through the classes, but through the mentorship. And you can use whatever tools you want. These are the ones that I support. And then you can hear from people who have taken the mentorship and some different quotes. And you can also see some of the work that people have done in my mentorship, which I guess I should have showed at some point, but like, these are some of the shots that people have worked on, having worked with me. Yeah. What kind of projects or assignments should we expect? So that kind of stuff. So hopefully, so if you are looking for information on these classes and like what kinds of shots are we going to be doing, check out these pages because they will give you a rough overview of the type of stuff. So there we go. Yeah. I think that just about covers it. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you, everybody, for coming, for hanging out, for being here, especially those of you who have been here for a long time. Thanks for hanging out. It's been fun chatting, and hopefully I'll see some of you in class or in the mentorship or, just in the next live stream or in the comments of normal videos, wherever you might be. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon. All right. I gotta go find the button to turn this off. Where is it? Here we go. Links are down below for all the stuff. So return here or to any of my videos if you want to find the links. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.